I do. You were such a player hater.
You're a jerk. Wow, nice insult, Hannah Montana. You got any more harsh digs?
You know what? You were never a good friend. Even when we were little, you used to steal my toys and pour lemonade on my bed.
And now I'm eating your boyfriend. See? At least I'm consistent.
Why do you need him? Huh? You could have anybody that you want, Jennifer. So, why Chip? Is it just to tick me off? Or is it because you're just really insecure?
I am not insecure, needy. God, that's a joke. How could I ever be insecure? I was the snowflake queen.
Yeah. 2 years ago when you were socially relevant.
I am still socially relevant.
And when you didn't need laxatives to stay skinny.
I am going to eat your soul and shit it out, Lesnicki!
Thought you only murdered boys.
I go both ways.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
We have an early start to the October lineup.
I mean, I'm down.
I'm very excited to talk about this movie.
This movie's so much fun. I'm glad we just watched it. Everybody out there listening, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott, and these are the movies that made us gay.
Yes, indeed.
Lauren from Keep It Weird.
Lauren from Keep It Weird.
Welcome back on.
Hello. So
Welcome
happy
back
to
to the
be
show.
here. Oh,
So
cheers.
excited to
Thank
talk
you.
about this movie. We had some changes to our schedule.
Yeah.
We bumped up Jennifer's Body. I think I had planned on doing this in October and decided to do it a little early.
Yeah.
I love it. I've
So,
been
yeah.
watching horror movies all summer.
Why
Like, it's
not?
Never
Yeah,
too,
I don't think
it's
you
never
need
too
to.
soon.
There's no schedule to watch a horror movie.
Never.
Come on.
And
Yeah.
we finally got to it. Jennifer's Body, directed by Karyn Kusama, written by Diablo Cody, released
Gay.
September 18th, 2009.
Wow.
2009.
It
Yeah.
was the end of college for me.
I was just
Okay.
about to say, where were you
Yeah.
in 2009? What were you doing?
I mean, I saw this movie, not to be that person that was like, I was there opening
do
day,
it.
but
Be that person.
bitch, I was there opening day.
I
Okay.
believe that.
I was at the Missoula Carmike with my friend Hunter opening night, and I was so excited for
I
this
love that.
movie. And it's one of those things that when it didn't do that well, and I was just like, well, what the hell?
Why not?
Like,
Yeah.
why?
Like,
This was perfect.
I was there, and I saw a great movie. So
You're $12.
I feel like I never came around to Jennifer's Body's secret masterpiece. I always knew it was one.
Yeah, you've been. Yeah.
I'm with you. I can't claim that I was there. I was not there opening night, but I did see it in theaters, which
Okay.
I have, like, so many people have said,
Yeah.
oh, I absolutely did not see that
Yeah.
piece of garbage in theaters. But I thought it was so good, and I have always loved horror comedy
Right.
and
Yeah.
campy. So it spoke to me in every way. And when everyone else was ripping it to shreds, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
so
same.
sad.
Yeah.
Thought it was perfect.
I did not see it in theaters. I think, Scott, you probably introduced
I
me
probably
to this
introduced
movie.
you to it.
Fair.
Was it I'm sure it was just Diablo Cody that kind of
Well, I think
lured you in.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember really being invested in Juno when that came out.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember this was sort of the early days of Twitter and just following Diablo on Twitter.
Yeah.
She had a guest column in EW that she would do every month. So I would always read that. So yeah, I mean, I just remember Diablo Cody just being a big influence
Right.
on the young mind of me
Yes.
when I was in college.
So I have a confession. I saw Juno, liked it, loved it. Right. It was fun. I thought the dialogue was really smart.
we just did a rewatch of Juno too.
Yeah, we just did a rewatch.
I
It was
did
great.
too recently.
Oh, fun.
I was like, I still love it.
See? But then I started to kind of have this little like mini backlash in my head where I was like, all right, nobody talks like that. Like, we get it. Like, you're just so quirky. And the hamburger phone. And I was like, that's from the 80s. It's not like she invented it, you know? So I'm just like coming up with like all these little things like, all right, come on. It's so like air quotes quirky, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's not even her name, you guys. You know, I was like that guy, right?
Yep. You were picking it apart.
And I don't
Yeah.
know why. Like, because I liked the movie. I
You're
was
a
like, this
player
is fun.
hater.
I was just being
You're
a
such a
player
fucking player hater.
Player
Like,
hater.
for real. You know, and then all of a sudden, I think I probably watched like the Juno commentary like with you or something. And I think it was just like watching commentary and then just watching like interviews on YouTube or whatever. I was like, oh, she's great.
Yeah.
She's
fucking rad.
She's like my
She's
people.
so
like
cool.
she's definitely my
I remember
people.
you
Yes.
telling me about
Totally
when you
understand.
introduced me to Spaced.
Right.
And she's on the Spaced commentary.
Right. Spaced with Simon Pegg.
And she does the commentary with all of them. Yep.
Yes. And they have just cool people that, you know, that they love come and do. I mean,
Right.
Tarantino does a commentary for one of the episodes.
Damn.
And they reached out specifically and now I'm blanking on Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright like
Yeah.
handpicked, you know, Diablo Cody to come and do a commentary on one of their episodes, and that was great, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't know what it was where there was a blip where I was just like, F her and her made up name and like
Wins an Oscar on her first movie.
She
I
wore
know, no
like
big deal.
yeah.
Love Diablo
and then
Cody.
and then you show me this movie, and again, there's little bits of dialogue that are just like nobody talks like that, but it's just it's
Sure.
funny. It's the universe of this movie,
Totally.
and I think Jennifer in particular has the most of the little sound bites.
Her lines, it's just like you could just quote them all day. The things that she says, it's magnificent. But also, I felt that in Juno. Like
Yes.
Juno
Yeah.
would just spout out the craziest things. Her and her like bestie.
Yes.
I always think of what does she say? I feel like Juno shocks her with a line. She's like Phuket, Thailand, or like she just like starts saying everything, and you kind of get that in Jennifer's body where
Yeah.
you're like, this is all nonsense, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody actually talks this way, but I love the way Diablo Cody writes. It's
Yeah.
just I was here for it. After I saw Juno, I knew Jennifer's Body was going to be my number one.
Yeah,
Did
absolutely.
you? I even read her book, and she got a lot of flack for this book, but I loved it. My sister and I were all about it. The book, Candy Girl,
Is it a
where she
memoir?
where she works of being a stripper in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought it was really funny.
Sure.
Love
I
it.
loved it.
And was it a situation where it was like kind of like a column, like go do this, live this life, and come back and write about it? Or
No.
was it she was actually just a stripper?
She was just a stripper.
Okay, I thought it was
Okay.
a
No.
thing where she kind of like went undercover,
No.
like I'm gonna go.
She
and,
worked
like-
as a she
I'm
worked
gonna
as a
invade
Yeah.
she
strip
just
clubs.
yeah she worked as a stripper
Okay.
in
Okay.
Minneapolis.
Okay, so that's even more cred than
I
if
know.
than if it was like an assignment. All right.
Yeah.
Well, and just her story is so fascinating that like she was discovered by Jason Reitman from her blog that she later made into the book. Like I
Right,
think that
okay.
she pretty
Right.
much made blog entries just
Can I
into
tell
a book.
you, like the early aughts, like blogosphere?
Yep.
Oh, I miss it.
I
Well,
miss it
especially
so
at that time where
much.
There
you
were some great ones out
where you
there.
had to like
Loved it.
learn programming.
Yeah.
I always think of my MySpace
I mean,
and how I learned coding.
we were
Like,
HTML
I was like,
masters.
yes.
All
It's like, let me just put this. I'm going to embed the song that I
Yeah.
want to play. Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
feel like such a
embed
pro.
a song that no bitch
You
could
you
pause.
cannot skip.
You can't skip.
No
this.
bitch could pause this song
And then I
while
would
you're
have
on
the
my
most
page.
emo biography of just like nobody understands. Like I had a fine life in the
Glitter
Midwest,
falling
but I was
from
yes, you could make a little
page.
object
Yeah.
come down. Oh
Uh,
gosh,
we were
live journal.
HTML
Could
masters.
crack that top 8.
But I'm telling you, there were
Oh,
some really great. I mean, obviously, the one that everybody remembers is Perez Hilton. I never really got on board with Perez because I
Yeah.
feel like he was a little mean.
I did, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I never did.
yeah.
He was never quite my thing.
But there was a blog called
Gosh,
"Ugly is the New Pretty."
Oh,
I think it was called "Ugly is the New Pretty," and it was two girls, and they would. They're just kind of being snarky about. I think it started off on like Met Gala, really, just like
Oh,
what are these
sure.
Of course.
weirdos wearing,
Right.
And then it became a weekly. Just they would just
Pop
take
culture.
pop culture.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's dressing like the fool out there,
dressing like a fool.
and it was really funny. I love them. I love Pink is the New Blog with I forget his name, and I'm gonna kick myself in the morning. But our friend from Pink is a New Blog, who's a listener, and we've been talking to him online. But there's some really fun blogs in the early aughts, and
I
Diablo
know.
probably
so
was at the
she
forefront
was
of that.
writing for a blog. Filmmaker Jason Reitman, his
Mm-hmm.
dad directed Ghostbusters.
no big.
And
I mean-
he was just like, I think you're really funny. You should write me a movie script. And I am the son of one of the biggest comedy directors in movie history, and I can get it made.
Yep.
And she wrote Juno. And she won the fucking Oscar
Because
for
it's brilliant.
her first script. Which, like, also in just the personality of a screenwriter, I don't think that. I mean, I can name a few, like Joe Esterhaus, that just sort of has like a following just over how kooky he is.
Right. Screenwriters are not like
Screenwriter hotshots.
celebrities anymore. It's not like the
Yeah.
70s.
I mean, kind of Max Landis, and then he got canceled.
Unfortunate.
And then she sort of had carte blanche to do whatever she wanted to, and she followed up Juno with a horror movie.
Yeah.
And a movie like Jennifer's Body.
Just the best. But I love it because anytime you listen to an interview or watch a video of her, it's like, if you really listen to the dialogue, it makes so much sense
Yeah.
that Jennifer's Body followed up Juno. The dialogue is very similar. It was
Absolutely,
that like
yeah.
high schooly, wild, over the top, quirky, as we were saying earlier. But then this darkness is on top of it,
And
which we love.
kind
Yeah.
of to put yourself in the culture of 2009, of
Yeah.
that early days of Twitter, of just people just sort of ragging on somebody like Diablo Cody, or her real name is Brooke,
Yep.
Brooke Busey.
Which just
Of
feels wrong.
just sort of
Yeah.
wanting,
Brooke.
just sort of wanting
not a
her to fail.
Yeah.
And just sort
Oh
of,
my gosh, yeah.
especially men, just sort of went into a movie like Jennifer's Body, which the marketing of Jennifer's Body, that's a whole nother conversation. That
And
it
that was the
probably
biggest issue.
should have been marketed to young women.
Women,
Yeah.
young
But
women
of
especially,
course,
but all
Fox
women.
is going to go for the 18 to 24 male demographic who
Look
probably
how hot Megan Fox is.
buys a
Yeah,
majority
yeah.
of movie tickets. And of course, like, this movie is not made for them.
No.
And
So, of course, they were disappointed.
audiences just sort of rejected it,
Yep.
that it was being served up to.
Yeah.
And that's not the kind of movie Jennifer's Body is,
No.
too. And also just sort of somebody like Megan Fox, I think, was an easy target
Yeah.
for kind of player hater club. I mean, Megan, she was just coming off of 2 giant Transformers
Right.
movies.
Yeah.
She had a few loose-lipped interviews where she would just sort of say what's on her mind.
Yeah.
And a woman that says something on her mind, like, what does she really
How
think
dare
of?
she?
Like, what do you really think of Michael Bay? And
Yeah.
also
Oh my
just
God,
sort
I
of
forgot she went
well,
off
and also
on
like
Michael
the
Bay.
Michael Bay like comments, they're so blown out of proportion when you actually
Of
read the
course,
actual
yeah.
interview of what she said about
Yes,
him.
I
Like, she's
agree.
clearly exaggerating.
But still, like,
yeah.
let her vent.
Yeah,
of that
exactly.
moment.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, just sort of wanting to hate somebody and not really being all that familiar with the material. It's like,
agree.
this performance by Megan Fox is really good. And
That's what made me so
yeah,
mad.
yeah.
Everybody called her such a terrible actress
Yeah.
in it. And it's like, I don't think you're understanding the movie. I actually think her subtlety in some of the scenes was so perfect. And she creeped me out in just the right way when she was supposed to.
Yes.
She was acting like a high school bitch in
Yes.
every way that I wanted her to.
Yeah.
I thought she was genius in this movie, and it's
Yeah.
very unfair. that
Absolutely. And I think she pulls off some of the crazy Diablo Cody dialogue
Yeah.
might be hard to kind of spit out because there are such
Absolutely.
weird things.
It is
and
weird.
It's the whole nobody talks like that kind of a thing. And when she says, like, absolutely believing it, she says, PMS is not real, needy.
Yep.
It was invented by the boy run media to make us look crazy. I laugh every time.
She delivered it perfectly. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. She was like made for this part.
Yeah.
When I hear about anybody else who was up for the role, I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Megan Fox nailed it. And even just like at the very beginning of the movie when she's walking down the steps with Needy and like talking to her boyfriend, you're just jello because you can't come with it. Like she
You're
says
lime
this
Your
jello.
lime green jello.
You're lime green jello. She goes on this like ridiculous rant, but I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I believe it coming out of your
Yeah.
mouth.
It smells like
And-
Thai food in here.
and, like,
YouTube and fucking.
YouTube
Comedy's
fucking.
hard, right? Like
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
not everybody can pull it off. She pulls it off, but she also, like you said, when she needs to be creepy, and not just like she's a scary succubus, but just when she's that level of friend to Needy that you're like, is she really her friend? Even before she gets
Succubus
you know,
aside,
yeah.
that like toxic friendship.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
toxic friendship, and the whole like that genius like when they're like shoving each other.
I know.
Shoves her against
Shoves
the door.
her against
You're
the
like,
door,
"Woo."
and Needy's like, Jesus.
Yeah, and even the whole thing about like your lime green jello and walking down the stairs. She's like not even looking at Chip, and it's just
No.
like she's just she's that girl, you know? And you're like,
She is that
okay.
girl.
I knew you were.
I knew that girl
I
in
knew you
high
were.
school. I had that friend in my friend group.
Yeah.
It was like that was also the reason I loved that movie is I related to it. Like in the female perspective, it was
Yeah.
like I've had this friend. I had to deal with this girl in high school. Like the jealousy. Oh, I love the little subtle line of when Needy's like, I definitely think you should go out with him about the like super emo guy, Kyle Gallner.
Kyle
I
Gallner. I
forget the name of him.
He's all emotional and shit.
Yes, that emo guy. When she's like, "Oh, I actually really like him. I think you'd have a good date," and you just see Jennifer clock it, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you do? Okay, I'm gonna go out with him." Like girls are the worst in high school. Teenage girls.
Yeah. What is Needy's line about like hell is a teenage girl?
Yeah, hell is a teenage girl. That's part of the reason I wanted to have
Yeah.
a boy when we when we were finding out the sex of our child. I was like, I can't put up with a teenage girl because I was a monster, and
Yeah,
so were
yeah.
my group of friends. We were those idiot girls that you hated in high school. So
Yeah.
it's real.
It always it always takes me back to virgin suicides.
Yeah.
Where little Jenny from Forrest Gump is like, obviously, doctor, you've
Yep.
never been a 13-year-old girl.
13-year-old girl.
So
Yeah.
true.
You're just like, ooh, yikes.
We're just monsters. Yeah, it's so bad. You're going through so much.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, you guys are absolutely right. Megan Fox kills it, and I think there was just immediately a lot of that weird backlash from people who never saw it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's just like, did you even give it a chance? Do you
Yeah.
even know what you're talking about?
Right.
Also, just sort of when people that I noticed at the time that would talk shit on Diablo Cody.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what's happening to Olivia Wilde right now on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Of just sort of all of this hate on this person. And then when you actually dissect what it is about, it sounds pretty misogynist.
Does.
Right.
Yeah. And it's happening to Olivia Wilde right now.
I hate what's happening to Olivia Wilde because it's like, let her and Harry Styles be. Let them live their life.
Let
Like her
their
and Jason
love.
had a split. I think everyone's making up narratives about her in their head. And it's like, people split up. She's with Harry. She can still be a creator and make these awesome movies, which I'm excited to see the movie. But yeah, everybody is hating on her because like, you can't be with Harry and you broke up with Jason and you're just a homewrecker. I'm like, let's look at the men. Nobody mentions the men.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
Like, isn't it kind of shitty that Jason served her like at Cinecon
That
when she was doing
awful.
like
and I
when she was
love
doing
Jason.
press?
Like,
That's the
I will
yeah.
be for him all the
Yeah.
time, but I was like, that sucked. That was
Yeah.
bad.
It's like, yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't help her cause that Jason Sudeikis is just so universally loved.
I know. And Ted
by
Lasso.
everybody.
Everyone
Yeah.
thinks he's Ted Lasso,
Everyone- yeah,
so you
that's
can't.
That's the thing.
I know.
Oh,
So,
man.
kind of one of the big things of the renaissance of Jennifer's body is that a lot in culture has happened since 2009.
Yeah.
Lots happened in Diablo Cody's career. I think Young Adult and Tully are great movies.
So good.
Also very underrated.
Also very underrated
Especially
movies.
young adult. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed.
We love
Both
it.
really good. So she's kind of progressed to kind of mature as a writer. So
Absolutely.
she kind of, I mean, all of the people that gave her shit for winning an Oscar on her first script, like
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
like she's done the work since then. But
Yeah.
just a lot of culture has changed, and one of the big things with just sort of people talking about Jennifer's body and re-examining it is, I mean, it comes down to the Me Too. It comes down to the Me Too movement.
That's what I think of. Yeah. It was like she was talking about Me Too before Me Too had
Sure.
happened. And it felt like, I always say this movie just came out 10 years too soon.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
she was talking about something in the industry happening. There's so much symbolism in Jennifer's body.
Yeah.
And we saw Megan Fox being attacked in the media and going
Yeah.
through this. It was like Diablo was highlighting all of that. And then we just found out about it a few years later of like, oh, hey, everyone sucks in the industry. Men are the worst.
Yeah.
And I think she was like trying to send a message that wasn't getting across because
Right.
we didn't know enough.
Yeah.
It was too soon.
Yeah. And then, you always hear about, movie executives and, marketing people, just like they get the dailies, they get the rushes, they're going to stitch together something that may not be representative of the entire movie. Scott, can you explain the trailer?
Yeah, I mean,
Makes me so mad.
the marketing for this movie is a mess. I mean, I think that the idea was we're going to make, and I'm going to quote Roger Ebert's review of this movie, who also gave this like 3 stars and had favorable things to say about it.
I was like, Ebert was like for it.
I mean, he was for it, but he also called it Twilight for young men.
I know.
What?
That's the quote
So
I hate.
I feel like that.
I know.
That's just not really the movie.
It's not even
No,
slightly
not even
Twilight for men. That's why
close.
people misunderstand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of the marketing for this movie is a mess. I didn't even want to pull the trailer for the opening scene. And it's one of those things that they take our opening clip and they put it over another scene of the movie, which it's just like those lines are not coming out of Amanda's mouth.
Oh, okay.
So
I
yeah,
know.
it's just a big old mess. I mean,
And they,
it was
They showed the kiss, didn't they, between the two females, and it was supposed to be like, will they,
Yeah.
won't they?
I mean,
That is
titillating.
not.
I mean, all of
That's
the
not the
movie
it's not.
posters and the marketing just looked like a Maxim cover.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
did you guys hear about they wanted, I forget who was asking her to do this, but somebody on a marketing team somewhere was asking her to do like a Pornhub or like porn website
Oh my gosh.
advertisement,
Oh
like
my gosh.
showing up on a porn site being like, come see Jennifer's
No.
body. That is how much they wanted to market it as sexy. And it was like, this is not supposed to be a sexy movie.
But like,
Like, she is sexy.
Well,
Megan
yeah,
Fox
she
is hot as
is.
shit, but it was like, this isn't
Yeah.
a sexy movie. This
I
is
think-
like a commentary.
I think if they had just marketed it correctly and it came out and did however it would have done, I think the boys who were just like, "Oh, Megan Fox is hot. I love her," would have found it anyway.
They still
you know
would
what I
have
mean?
gone.
Like straight dudes in like the late '90s fucking loved like Gia.
yes.
That's not for them at all,
Totally,
but they're
they
like,
still win because
oh
Angelina
man,
Jolie
yeah,
is fucking
and they
beautiful.
talked
Yeah.
about it. Like they're like, if you see fucking Gia, like she gets naked and like all that. Like straight
So
dudes
it doesn't
love that.
have to be marketed
They
to men.
find, they find these movies with these beautiful women. Like, trust me, they will find it.
They will find those
So
women.
you don't have to even point it at them. Point it at the
Right.
people that it's for, and then
you brought up a good point that Jennifer's Body oddly isn't a very sexy movie. Like
No.
Jennifer's beautiful, but there's something a little more nuanced and
Yeah.
weird in its execution, especially how they film Megan.
Yes.
Of that you don't really get any skin or nudity when she's swimming naked in the lake.
it's all obscured.
It's all
Yeah.
obscured.
That's like, it's more artistic.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
cuts
yeah.
away.
Cool.
It cuts away to like body parts too, and you just see her walking away clothed.
Yep.
But also, okay, so the whole thing is that, well, I guess we should kind of break it down a little. Because we haven't
We're
even.
jumping
So,
ahead.
that's okay.
so
We
we're
haven't
just
even talked
excited.
about the band
I
yet. and I have a lot to say about.
So I love the opening shot
Low
of this
shoulder.
movie of when you see Jennifer.
I
I'm
know.
wearing my low shoulder.
Scott's in a low shoulder shirt.
I'm a fan. The opening shot of
He
this
got it at a
movie
gig.
of Jennifer sitting on the bed, and especially if you have the expectation of going into it, I'm gonna fucking see like Megan Fox. I'm gonna
Yeah.
like go in and see like those boobs or
Hot
something,
as-
and
She's,
then you
like,
get to
ill.
the opening
She's
scene, and she's just like. She just looks wrecked.
Yeah.
But there's something about Megan Fox of when they really like make her gritty that I think she's very beautiful in
I
those scenes.
agree. Even
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
hallway
When
scene
she's
where
stripped
she's
down.
like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it wore off or
Yes.
whatever she says. I actually think she looks so good.
I was
like the
gonna
dark
say,
circles
yeah.
kind of work for you. It's like the Pete Davidson effect.
Absolutely.
Like,
the
the dark
Beetlejuice. Yeah.
circles kind of work for you.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I feel like in her like, I think it's wearing off stages. I think they show her more like
Yeah.
that than they show her fully, full,
Which is
and
the
like
beauty of the
beautiful
movie.
and glowing, and that's the thing. It's like we expect it to be like
Introduced
sexy, but
picking a scab off her arm.
Oh yes,
Cat's
yeah.
acting
She's
crazy.
first shown like scratching at her arm. That is true.
God, yeah.
Big old scab.
But I mean, okay, so that was the other thing when I first saw this movie. I was like, oh, really? Her name is Needy.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Like, it's,
Needy.
What kind of a parent would name their kid Needy?
it's Anita.
So we get introduced to Amanda Seyfried, who plays Needy in a mental hospital. Also, kind of, I mean, Karyn and Diablo have talked about this of just sort of the grand tradition of main characters in mental hospitals
Yeah.
and also women in mental hospitals that
Yeah.
probably shouldn't be there. I think it's just kind of a really interesting framing device for the story.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Of that, you just sort of get introduced to this character. You don't really know what her agenda is, if she's good or if she's bad. She's like kicking orderlies. She's a
love
kicker.
the first scene.
Love
Yeah,
it,
she's
yeah.
the kicker. It's like on her sheet.
Yeah.
She gets confronted about Toastums, which are basically Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts, yeah.
It's the best, and then just kicks the
Also,
shit
yeah.
out of
Have
the
you guys
orderly.
done
It's so
anything
great.
on Keep It Weird of people that write to
People in prison,
people in prison?
prisoners,
Very
prison
interesting.
pen pals.
Yep.
We have discussed it before. We just haven't fit it into an
Okay.
episode. We have to like find the right category to put it in there. But I love it.
Ideally, you need to have someone that has written to
Has
someone
done
in
it
prison.
before.
Yep.
I agree because it is fascinating.
It is very.
But yeah,
but you know, if you want to get into the whole like movie history of it all, it's very like Sunset Boulevard.
Yep.
Like,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is me now.
Yep.
And let's go back to the beginning and
Let me
find
tell you how
out.
I
Let
got
me
here.
tell you how
Kind
I
of-
got here. Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah.
I like
like
it.
a classic framing device for a
Yes.
movie script.
And you know, it's funny. I haven't watched this movie in a long time. So, and my memory is absolute.
Gosh,
garbage.
mine
It's
is.
a-
It
Jello.
doesn't exist. It is
I'm like a
lime
steel.
Jell-O.
I'm like a
sieve.
steel trap when
Yeah.
it comes to certain.
Mine
things.
is like steel, but the steel pot that you drain the spaghetti in. That's how my memory is.
I'm a colander.
Yeah,
It's just,
a
it
steel
might hold
colander.
a little bit.
There you go. Couldn't even remember
Yeah.
what it was called.
No, both of our partner, like Scott and Ashley, have amazing memories,
Yeah.
and we're just the two.
No,
that lose.
yeah, we're just the dummies.
We're the idiots. Yeah.
I'll take it. But I forgot that you hear the voiceover before you know it's Needy. So as she was speaking, I was like, "Is that Jennifer talking to me right now?" But I was like, "No, why would she be in a mental hospital?"
She's
it's
not
Needy.
saying this.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, we got introduced to Amanda Seyfried as like the mousy, quiet. I mean, Amanda Seyfried is beautiful. She's got the big eyes, all that. But against Megan Fox, I guess she's.
I know. You're going to be
She's
the
the
plain
frump.
Jane. That's what they're trying to make her look like.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about Amanda in this role?
I love Amanda in this movie.
Yeah, I thought she nailed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
I think that she convincingly plays a character like Needy, but also on the flip side, I think she's really fun to watch in the mental hospital scenes.
That's why
Yep.
I loved that 1st scene because we don't get to see her like that a lot. And I
Yeah.
don't love her in everything, if I'm being
Sure,
honest. I
yeah.
know she's an American treasure to most, but I hated her in Les Miserables.
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
the Cosette was rough.
I think miscast. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm trying to.
She was
I'm blanking on other
she
things.
said
but
she
I know
almost
I've-
made it into the Wicked movie. She said she still has nightmares auditioning for Wicked. Yep. So I think she made it pretty far.
That's unfortunate.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want her in that either.
We like her, we just don't
mostly
wanna see her
musicals.
sing.
But yes, I know, which is awful. Like I know she's professionally
Yeah,
trained,
yeah.
but I just there are some things I'm like, oh, sit down. But I loved her.
Yes.
I thought this was so good.
Yeah. And, it's one of those, it's a high school movie, and I buy her in high school. I
Totally
buy
buy
her
it.
with Chip.
Yep.
I feel like
They
their
felt like a
cast,
real
They
couple.
felt like a real couple.
Chip was great.
I think that
you are like a guy in my high
I think
school.
I'm the same age as Amanda,
okay.
and Megan.
Okay.
Too. Mm-hmm.
Wait, how old
Alright.
are they?
Think that I mean
Sorry, I'm
I
not-
think they're all
You
I think they're
Born
all
in
like
80
35 and
born in
36
born
right
in
now.
86.
They're so
I know
close to us.
Megan is definitely born.
Megan was born in 86 for
in
sure.
86, yeah.
And Amanda was born
okay.
December 85.
Okay.
So she's like a mere weeks older than you.
I still would have gone to high school with her. Yeah.
That's cool.
Johnny Simmons plays Chip.
Oh, Chip.
Good old Chip.
Also born in 86. I remember him from Scott Pilgrim Saves
Yep,
the World.
that's what I always think
He's
of.
Yeah, but he's just like he's he's just
American boy.
just a boy.
Cute boy.
Yeah. And
He's
you know
adorable.
what's so interesting about Needy and Jennifer is that Jennifer is presented to us as this like hypersexual, like beautiful girl, but like Needy and Chip are the ones fucking.
I know.
Like, like they're
They
like
were
the
getting
nerdy
it.
ones, but
Yeah.
they're like getting down. He's like, hey, I just went to Super Target and bought a fucking like 24 box of condoms. And you're like, yeah,
and that's,
Chip.
yeah. And that's what's interesting about how Diablo takes sort of the archetype of a final girl,
Yeah,
and sort of turns it on its head. That
She doesn't have to be a virgin.
I guess that
totally.
Needy is a final girl at the very end of the movie, but she doesn't fit into that box.
She
Right.
doesn't. She's
And
not in the
also,
stereotype.
Needy's
Yeah.
a character that often runs to danger to protect people too.
Yeah.
which you don't really
True,
see
yeah,
in
yeah.
movies like this at all.
Yeah.
No.
She's running towards.
That is so true. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, and
Needy does
Chip-
not fit the final girl, but she is a
Yeah.
final girl.
I mean, Chip is more of the like damsel in distress.
I know.
He's the girlfriend character.
Chip. He is. He's more of the girlfriend stereotype.
Yeah. But it is that thing that's so much more true to life. You see in movies that it's like the nerds never get girls and like all that stuff. But it's like in high school, like everybody was hooking up.
Oh my gosh,
like,
yeah.
The nerdy people were just hooking up with other nerds.
Sometimes the nerdy people
all the band
would get it. I was
kids.
just about to say the band geeks at our school were the most sexually
they were the
active
ones
people.
fucking.
I was like, damn, you guys are getting it.
Yeah, because they like have their whole group that
I know,
they're
their
always
crew.
together. So
Yep. They were getting it in.
Yeah, so in movies they never really get that right. And I think in this one that was so true to life. It's like, if they're together, they're gonna be
They're
together.
like
just
having a
sort
good
of-
time.
Especially her mom, Amy Sedaris, is never home. So
Amy Sedaris, Strangers with Candy. Did you guys ever watch that?
Oh my
We were
God.
it was the best.
we were at a bar with our friend Manny and past guest. He was on Carrie, and we were throwing out Strangers with Candies lines, and we were just like,
glad you guys watched it.
and we were just like, Amy Sedaris would get canceled.
We had to.
We
were throwing
yeah.
out Strangers
I
with Candy
wouldn't.
lines, and we had to whisper them to each other because
That's
we didn't
when you
want
know.
people at the bar like, we can't be saying
God, at the time, it was so good. She was my everything.
No,
Loved
she's
it.
she's so funny. She's so
She is.
stupid. I mean,
she's so ridiculous.
At Home with Amy Sedaris is ridiculous.
Yes.
It's next level
But
out
I'm
of control.
obsessed.
But it's so good.
Yeah, she's
But,
everything.
It's that thing where when you're in high school, you live with your parents. And if you and your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever, sometimes you got no place to go.
Yep.
So sometimes these kids, we went to Universal Studios the other day and these kids were going at it in
They
the
were
car in the parking
were
lot.
like-
I was like, pull
He was
your
like,
were
hands
probably
he was
like,
up.
this
like
was our
finger
time.
blasting his girlfriend in the car next to us. I'm not even joking.
I was like, oh my God, get in the car.
But you think of it, you're like, okay, this was your only place.
It's your only place.
This was the
You
only
had
place you
nowhere
could
to
go. Yeah,
go.
I was like, I had lots of hookups in cars. It
Yeah.
was like cars or the woods.
Cars, parking lot,
Dark parking
makeout
lot.
sessions.
Cornfields. I'm from the Midwest, so a lot of cornfields. Yeah, that's it. That's all you got.
Yeah, but Needy, man, she had that perfect situation of
She
a
did. Mom
swing
was
shift, swing shift mom.
I also kind of like the interesting friend dynamic in a movie like this, that it's a popular girl with someone that's just kind of average.
Yeah.
And I definitely remember friend groups like that.
Oh my
Of
gosh,
just
yeah.
somebody that was like kind of ran in a very A-list crowd, but
Yeah.
was friends with just sort of regular people.
No, I feel like
quotations, yep.
I was the needy in some way. I feel
Sure.
like I wasn't as nerdy as her, mostly because I think she's like the brilliant kind of nerdy.
Right,
I
right.
don't know if I was that. I was the theater geek and the choir geek in high
Okay.
school, but I had friends who were cheerleaders. So I've told Ashley this in the podcast. It sounds weird to say it out loud, but I'm self-aware. I was popular in high school,
Yeah.
but only because I randomly was friends
Yeah, you
with.
were already friends with them,
I had the
yeah.
Jennifer
Yeah.
type as my friend, and I was the one who was in theater, and they were all like, we don't understand you, but we'll keep you around. So I actually really connected
Sure.
with Needy in this movie, where I was like, yeah, I was friends with all the beautiful girls, and I was just doing the play.
Right.
And it just, that's why this movie really hit home.
I mean, you could also look at it from. I mean, I don't think it's really that, but I don't know if maybe the other kids see it that way. Of like, maybe does Jennifer only hang out with Needy to like make
To look
herself look
better, which
yeah, like I look
kind of
cuter.
gathered
I look
that,
cuter when I'm
yes.
hanging out when I'm standing next
I
to
know.
you.
I'm on a stat. What's up, Vagisil? You and me are going out tonight. Tonight, why? Because Low Shoulder are playing at Melody Lane. They're this indie rock band from the city. I saw their MySpace page, and the lead singer's extra salty. Plus, there'll be lots of other salty morsels there for you. Come on, Needy. I promised Chip that I would hang out with him tonight. Boo, cross out Needy. What time is the show? We'll pick you up at 8:30. My mom has a date with that guy who owns the ham store. Seems nice. Wear something cute, okay? Okay.
Kind of a
Again,
thing.
they had a very toxic
Yes.
friendship
Yes.
in every
toxic
way.
code.
Did you go to
Codependent
Did you go to high school with flags?
Yes.
We didn't quite have flags. We had like a drill team
Color- yeah,
that
true.
I think
They're
handled
all
flags.
the
It's
same.
all
It's
the
like
same.
color guard,
Color
drill
guard,
team
yeah.
flags. Sorry
It's
if
all
anyone's
the same.
offended out there, but I think it's all the same.
I want to say that they even like got rid of our drill team like halfway through my halfway through
wow.
high school.
Okay.
They're just like, we're done with
Like
you.
all of a sudden we just
Oh my
didn't
You've
have
done
it.
nothing for us.
So I went to an all boys school.
Oh.
Yes. But we had cheerleaders, but they
Okay.
were the girls from the all-girls schools. They
Oh
could
my
come and cheerlead
gosh.
for us, right? So we had the whole cheerleader thing. That was cute. And then I had friends from another all-girls school that I would just like hang out with them, like SB and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one year, I think it was junior year, they were like, "Oh, our friend so-and-so, she's on the drill team, and the drill team's really good this year, and they're going to Miss Drill Team USA in Long Beach." And she's like, "Do you want to go? It's like free." I was like, "Yes."
Hell
And we went to
yes.
Miss Drill Team USA. You guys, it was wild.
It was pretty lit.
Fun.
It was all day. It was amazing. It was so much
I would
fun.
love to go.
Watching these drill teams from like across the state, it was nuts. It was really fun.
I've
Yeah.
seen many.
Talented.
I've seen many a cheerleading competition when I was in high school.
See?
those
the
are so fun.
But we didn't, I mean, because we just had the girls coming in from the other schools, like they weren't there all the time, so
Right.
they couldn't do like the really elaborate stuff, so we didn't have flag,
Sure,
corps, any of
sure,
that.
sure.
But they did cheer and it was good. And I was very good friends with two of them.
Oh, see? Yep. You find your cheerleaders. We all have our cheerleaders.
Yeah. But so I love
Back to the
Back to
movie.
the movie. I love just the one little girl that Needy gets into arguments with throughout the entire
Yeah,
movie.
and she's
like-
from
I was
Juneau.
going to say she's from Juneau.
Oh,
She's
okay.
all babies want to be born.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the abortion clinic, and she tells her that babies have fingernails. And I loved Sun Jin is her name.
Sun Jin,
Yeah, I was like, it
okay.
just came back. So
Yeah.
she is in Juneau, and then she comes back as Chastity.
She says
Chastity,
that
yeah.
Perfect
you're totally
name.
lesbigay.
Lesbigay?
for
Totally
Jennifer.
lesbigay. And she's obsessed with Low Shoulder. It's so
Oh, my God.
she's just an amazing character, and she's so different from her character in Juneau, but she was a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
reappearance. I love
Absolutely.
it.
So we have to talk about the Low Shoulder.
So
And this
they end up
venue,
at
the club.
the bar Melody
club.
Lanes,
Melody
which is
Lanes,
sort of
yeah.
like a roadhouse in small urban
Small
towns.
town.
Yeah.
There's just sort of a bar out in the middle of nowhere, and this one is called Melody Lanes.
What does Adam Brody say? We still have to go to the shitty towns.
Yeah, we have to make our
And kind of a character note of Adam Brody that he always says something different for Devil's Kettle in each line. Mhm.
Oh, he never calls it Devil's Kettle. He
And
calls it
someone
like
always has to correct him, and he'll
Yeah.
be like, "Fuck yeah, man!" like on the mic. Yeah, he just takes.
But yeah, Jennifer drags Needy out to this bar to see Low Shoulder. They've come from the city and they're playing a show at this honky tonk.
it is a honky tonk.
it really
Sure.
I mean, Pete, you can definitely relate to this. I mean, I didn't really go to
Going to
a
shows?
lot of live music when I was
Yeah.
young, just
Gosh,
because
Yeah.
all I did.
yeah. that's
I don't
all
know
did.
if just sort of Montana, you only got like
Oh,
so much of
yeah.
that. I did a
That's
little bit in
fair.
college, but I mean, you can definitely relate to going to see the cool band.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of those things too that like I had like friends in bands and we would go see go see them play and see all, a lot of like local scene bands or whatever. And it got to the point where if we would go see like just college bands or friends of friends that we weren't that like close with, and we'd go and they would play covers, we'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Cover band, like this is
We're not here for
this is
this.
trash.
I'll see you out the door with
This
your
is
with your
garbage.
half pipe cover.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Yeah.
like, go find a bar and grill somewhere and like
Yes.
have fun.
Go find the honky tonk.
Yeah. We were about the bands that like write your own music, man.
Oh,
like
1000%.
make it like with your,
We were trying
your
to find
talent.
the undergrounds.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, I've been to like a shitty venue. I mean, LA listeners, we've all been out to, Coos in Santa Ana and like Chain Reaction and like all those little tiny garbage places. And I mean, I don't know if it's just my mom and my grandma in the back of my head, but I was the king of like, where the fuck are the exits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This place has one door, and I don't
Are
trust
we all
I mean,
going to
yeah,
burn
Melody-
to the ground
I mean,
as Melody Lane?
Melody
Yes.
Lanes has the snatch hatch.
Oh my gosh.
Snatch hatch.
Was
The
it the
snatch
bathroom?
hatch?
The window in the girls'
It's the
bathroom?
window in the bathroom.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, where they escaped. Yes, you're right.
It's where you get in all of the
The
underage
snatch
girls.
hatch, yeah.
Yep.
Oh my god!
gross.
Because that's the other thing. It's clearly a bar, and it's filled with a bunch of their classmates. But
Underage.
they do have the X, the black X on the hands,
Yeah.
which I remember that as well.
Do
and
you?
then Chris Pratt makes
I was
his
going to say,
appearance.
do you remember?
Oh,
I hope you
yes.
remember Chris Pratt is in this movie.
Oh, yes.
So we were at Hollywood Forever Cemetery seeing
yeah.
this last weekend.
So
it was
jealous.
the slumber party. It was Death Becomes Her, and Jennifer's body was at midnight.
Yeah.
A lot
Great
of people
show.
left
Good
for
feature.
a lot of people left like right after the second movie, as what usually happens for a double
Sure.
feature.
Yeah.
But when this movie came on, you can definitely tell that it had its fans. Like there were some great costumes, a lot of really good Jennifers,
Oh,
and
good.
I was curious of what was going to happen when Chris Pratt came on screen.
Yeah.
That Pete and I were like asking each other before, do you think he's going to get booed?
Right.
He
got
came on
booed.
screen and he got booed.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I was going to say he hasn't been fully canceled, but he's like at a half cancel.
And then like
He's been
Hollywood
rough.
Forever is just like full of hipsters and stuff. So,
Oh yeah, I was like everybody.
There was
is
a
on
lot
the
of-
other
There was
side.
a lot of
Yeah.
gays in this audience
yeah,
too.
a lot of queer people there.
No, and
Yeah.
I probably would have been one of the ones booing him, which
Yeah.
makes me sad because Parks and Rec is like my
So
all-time favorite
good.
television show. Andy
Yeah.
Dwyer is my boo.
And
I
also,
love it. I
Chris
love
Pratt is
Guardians
in that.
too.
Yeah,
Chris
me
Pratt
too.
is in that weird
too.
gray zone that you
It
don't
is.
really know. Like,
you're okay.
just sort of-
you're not a monster.
Yeah.
but you're also
Yeah.
annoying.
He belongs to
Just
like a
says annoying
big
things.
California mega church that does not really accept the gays.
But then he
I
says
know.
he says he doesn't. Then he says like I'm not religious, and I'm like, but half your Instagram posts are about Jesus. I don't.
No,
understand.
I have friends. It's so funny because Alex and I are like, to anybody who doesn't know, Alex is my husband. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just threw that name out.
That's okay.
We used to be very involved in the church and then broke away once we realized that it can be complete trash. But we still have some friends who like I love and respect who just like they're in the church and it's their thing. And I'm like, hey, you do that. They went to the church. I was like, I'm not going to call it by name that
Yeah.
Chris Pratt went to.
Sure.
And he was out here on social media saying, I'm not religious. People are putting that on me. He was there every Sunday.
Yeah.
He was there being extra every Sunday.
God.
Like he was being team too much. And it was like, you are denying that you are this person when you totally are, and then being a little misogynistic.
and also
to you.
refuses to address the rumors that he is probably homophobic. Like he just
know.
doesn't even like to talk about it.
He won't talk
Yeah.
about it. He made those very awkward comments about his wife, and that's
Yeah.
why it's like he's towing that line where
Yeah.
it's like you haven't done anything like terrible, but
Yeah.
it's not good.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
the,
yeah.
the comments. That's my thing. It's just like, do you not hear yourself? Like,
I
are
know.
you not reading this back as you're writing it? Before
Felt very
you press
much like my
post?
wife is my servant.
It
That was
really
how and it was like-
did.
and that is such that like also
Yeah.
like super
It's-
Christian
it's just the
mentality of like
mindset, yeah.
you serve me, I'm the man. I was like, oh, this is
Probably had obey in their vows.
I will obey. Yeah, all of it.
But, I mean, hey,
I
this-
kind of love that he got booed. To be honest,
Yeah,
But-
I was gonna say,
And he got booed.
Does he burn to death in this movie? Maybe.
I also think that they probably got Chris Pratt when this was a bigger character in the script, and I think that I think everything was probably just cut out. Like I'm assuming that this character probably would have made it out of
Yes.
Melody
Earlier,
Lane's,
yeah.
and Jennifer.
No, I
ate him
read
up.
that he did because
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard this. This movie was supposed to not be a comedy. It was going to be a lot darker, and Chris
Okay.
Pratt's character actually had a couple of scenes that were cut where he was giving the news to the moms of the high school kids who died.
okay.
And there were these whole emotional moments of revealing that their sons had died to make it look at what Jennifer has done.
Okay,
You see in the
got
movie.
it, yeah.
There's like a handful of scenes of that in the movie.
Yes, and there's a little bit of that, and it was like it was supposed to be a lot more emotional. Of
Yeah.
he was going to be the one delivering the news because he was like a cop in the town,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
just I think all of that got cut, so he became a small
So
part.
Melody Lanes
Interesting.
catches on fire as they're playing one of their songs "Through the Trees," which is sort of
Through the Trees.
the Jennifer's
I
Body
hate- it's so
anthem.
catchy.
I
It's
listen
so
to it.
catchy.
I
I'll
listen
sing
to
it.
it in my
Sounds like a real
iTunes all the
song.
time.
It sounds like a real song. It sounds like something that would just be on K-Rock nonstop.
Stop! I would have listened to it all the
When
time.
they are about to do the sacrifice, and the one guy is like, "I don't know if we should do this," and Adam Brody's like, "Do you want to be playing shitty venues, or do you want to be like the guy from Maroon 5?" It's just like. Yes, that is exactly what
Yeah.
they're going for.
Totally.
They want to be Adam Levine. They
the tree,
Also,
I will find you.
also kind of that makes me think a lot about a movie like Rosemary's Baby and the Cassavetes character.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
that
what you would do.
what you would do
Yeah.
to succeed
Yeah.
for that character to succeed in Hollywood
Just
as
to
an
make your
actor,
stupid indie band
or to
famous.
get
God.
signed, to get your fucking
Your
terrible
indie
indie
band.
band signed.
Which
Yep.
that's what I was saying earlier when I said I think Diablo Cody was ahead of the game with the
Yeah.
Me Too movement.
Yeah.
I feel like she was trying to showcase it there of like men truly don't care about women.
No,
It is
yeah.
a power move always.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
how it felt.
Yeah.
And the irony that they zero in on someone like Jennifer, assuming that she's a virgin.
But why
too.
would they not go for needy? If they needed a
If they
virgin.
needed a virgin. I know, it's
Yeah.
like she-
Oh, but Adam Brody has the line about like girls that look like that. They
Yes.
look like that, but they don't
But
give
they're
it up.
actually
Yeah.
virgins. Even though,
Teases.
and then I love when she walks up with the shot glass and she's like, "Virgin, you're not even a backdoor virgin." I was like, I love
Oh my God, the tribute shooters.
yes.
The 9/11 tribute shooters I love
She's
because
like, this tower isn't as
Tower One's
Tower One is not as. All right,
no,
forget.
it's
I'm
not
gonna
as full.
like misquote
But, I
it.
mean-
it's not as full.
it's one of those things that when
Oh,
you
God.
go to a lot of bars in the Midwest in America, during this time there was a fixation on 9/11.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kind of like the never
was
give
real.
up, never surrender.
Absolutely.
Like you always saw
was so
posters and
real.
signs like that in
Yes.
bars.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they were doing it right. in that
Commemorative
movie. That was
plates,
so-
maybe?
That was so real.
So I don't know if I'm in the minority, but I mean, I did watch the OC and I loved it.
God, I love the OC.
Loved the OC, and I loved
Seth?
Seth
Seth Cohen.
Seth
baby.
Cohen. But I don't know, something about Adam Brody post OC.
He's a little thirsty.
He's
Does feel thirsty.
and
Yeah.
I don't know, and I get that that's the character in this movie.
Totally.
He's obviously
He's
playing
very
a
good.
role,
Yep.
and he's good in the role.
Nikolai.
But to me, I'm just like
Nikolai.
that guy.
I
I don't know.
know.
Maybe it's just transference. He's too good.
He's too good. I know. I
He's
was
well
like,
used in
he's-
this role.
He is. I was like,
Yeah.
I do love him in this movie because he does the role perfectly. But yeah, in other roles, I've kind
Man.
of been like, you can't do anything outside of those.
Seth Cohen did have a moment that like
Really did.
girls
Yeah.
were all about fucking Seth Cohen.
Oh yeah.
He was
I
like the
was-
Ducky of the
I was
mid
one
of
of
like the mid 2000s.
Well, it's like the whole
Adam Brody was my crush.
I mean, the
for
whole
sure.
thing is like, oh, he's a nerd, but it's like
He's
I
a
don't
nerd,
know.
but he's sexy.
Yeah, if
that
you're
was
like
his
a
thing.
6'1", like really handsome nerd,
1,000%. Yeah.
guess.
Yes. this
I
can work
guess
for
it's
you.
rough out there
I know.
for like a 6'1", really handsome white guy.
I totally bought in. I bought like all of the Adam Brody.
Yeah.
I was so, and he was part of the poll for Jennifer's body, honestly.
Oh, sure,
for me.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he plays the part a little too
Yes.
well. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
scene again that we've referenced where he's just discarding this girl completely
Right.
to make his band be successful. I was like watching it back the other night. I was struggling with it more than I had
Yeah.
when I was younger. I was
it's
like, oh,
it's done
you're
later.
gross.
It's done
You're-
later. It's done later in the
hate you.
movie as a flashback of what happens to
Yes,
Jennifer
I was gonna
when
say
she
we see it
gets
later.
when she gets pulled in the van.
Yeah.
But I almost have a memory of this scene being
Happening in real time.
funnier.
Yeah.
Oh, funnier, sure.
But
yeah,
it's like I think
Yes,
that it's
I
written
thought it
as
was
funnier, and then when you
lighter.
go
It
back
was
and
awful.
revisit it,
It's rough.
it's very
It's so
very hard to
rough.
watch.
But also maybe that's just adulthood and
Yeah,
we're seeing
true.
it in a
Yeah.
different
Especially
light.
just sort of how
Yeah.
Megan is playing it, like scared,
So,
like pleading
okay.
for her life.
Well,
Yeah.
Yes.
let me tell you this again. I have not seen this in a while, and so when they're playing through the trees, and the curtain just lights on fire,
Yeah.
and the whole place goes up in flames, and then he's just outside,
Yeah.
Yep.
and he has a drink, and he's like, "Drink this."
And he's like casual.
There's
and he's like, "What does he say?"
Oh, thank God you guys are all right. I've been looking everywhere for you two. Listen, it's really dangerous out here. You want to head someplace safer, like my van?
What?
I'm in survival mode right now, and I want us to get to a familiar place. And right now, I feel like that's my van. Okay, this one's in shock. Great. Are you in shock? What's from that?
Jennifer? Let's go, Jennifer!
Let's go to the van.
I want to go to your really cool van. Nene, let's go see his van. Why? Why should we? We have the Sebring. Let's just get out of here. Please? Nene, just stop it. Shut up.
At this point, I'm sitting there watching the movie on the cold, wet ground because it's now like 12:45 a.m.
Yep.
On my blanket, and I'm thinking, is he already in with the devil somehow? Because it seems like he's getting help.
Uh-huh.
He's being like helped. Like, did they intentionally start the fire?
Right.
I don't know.
We never really get that information.
And how
It
did
seems
the entire band on stage, which is in the back of the club, all got out
all
unscathed?
totally fine.
Have they already
Yeah.
signed their
Yeah.
like deal with
It
the devil?
feels
So
that
I
way.
feel like there's
and the devil was the one who told them,
Yes,
like, hey,
this
you
is
need
what-
to
this is the last
sacrifice.
thing you need to do.
Because
Yeah.
they seem to already have
I
something
think they're
going
on their way and
Mhm.
something's happening because it's a little too like he's just like, hey, you guys made it out. We've
Hey,
been looking all
let's-
over for you.
I needed to
Yeah.
find you. Yeah. It's too much.
Yeah. So I didn't know if I was like, am I crazy with this one or is that
I'm
okay?
so with you.
Yeah.
And it felt like that was never explained, and maybe it's supposed to
Yeah,
remain a
just-
mystery.
yeah.
But yeah, it felt like they were in on something.
Okay. And what did he say? Something like he found the spell like online or something.
Yeah.
Yes. He just pulls it out like, oh. And then he has to ask her what her name is. Was your name Caitlin?
Yeah.
Jennifer. It's just
Like,
it's
don't
awful.
say it.
I know, poor
He needs
thing.
to say her name.
And they start singing the 865.
8675309. That
Jenny.
is the part that almost made it darker. That they're like
Yes.
so
Yeah.
casual, like Jenny, I got your number, and she's screaming
Yeah.
in pain. And I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
This is rough.
Yeah, totally. It's that thing that they're just like at this point she's not even a person. It's just
Yeah.
Just a vessel.
yeah.
She's a means to have them get what they want.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, I mean, sorry to bring it dark, but that reminds me of like sexual assault and
Oh, yeah,
everything, where it's just like,
absolutely.
you're just a body,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do what I want, and that like it very much felt that way.
and there's that scene too earlier on when he gives her the drink and he like he like uses his hand to like
Here you go,
bottoms
honey.
up,
Yeah.
finish it.
Drink it.
And, like you said, with sexual assault and, getting slipped things in your drink and all of that, there's that moment where Needy's with her. She's
Yeah.
with her.
Totally.
And she's like, don't get in the van. Get out of the van. Come with
Yes.
me. And Jennifer's just like, no, leave
I'm
me
doing
alone.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
doing this. And it's like, what do you do? You're also...
You're torn.
You're also a girl. You're smaller than these boys.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
Is she
Like,
supposed
you're
to
in danger too.
Is she gonna jump in there and drag her out, and they're just
Right.
gonna
I know.
kill her
And she'll be
or
hurt.
rape her or do whatever?
And her
to both
narration,
of
I feel like,
them?
kind of says that in the movie,
Yeah.
where it's like the second she got in that van, I knew it was bad,
Yeah.
but it was like, what do I do? Like,
and the
she
door's
made up her
closing
mind.
on Jennifer, and I'm just like, and I'm putting myself in that position, like,
Totally.
what would I do? Like,
I know.
how do I get out of this?
I know.
And
I think
they're
that all the time.
Yeah, and they're in that. I mean, it's did they even? Did Needy had a phone? She had a flip phone.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah.
it's a fire. Who knows?
Still.
Yeah. Still, it's just
know.
it's such a crazy. It's one of those situations that's like, holy shit. This
Yeah.
is some real
This is
shit
too
right now.
real.
Yeah.
I know.
And so you kind of you never like blame Needy for leaving her.
Totally. Because she was
yeah.
concerned, but you can only do so much. And
Yeah.
I absolutely think now in my 30s, I would do a lot more. I feel like,
Yeah.
especially becoming a mama bear, like becoming a mom.
A Ford tough mama bear.
I will attack. Yeah, I'm going to stand up for someone. But in my 20s, I remember, I think every time my friends ended up safe, unless, I mean, God forbid, they weren't telling me something.
Yeah.
But there were so many situations where my friends were going off with a guy that I felt so bad about.
Yeah.
Gut instinct was telling me no. I would tell them my truth, say, I don't think you should do this.
Yeah.
But they would go off, and I'd see this large group of tall men towering over me like, what? Why can't your friend come with us?
Yeah.
You should join us. And it's just like, I'm not going to fight you on
Yeah.
this. I'm scared of you too. And you just don't do anything. But
Yeah.
you hope the best for your friend, but it's terrifying. Young females, it's awful out there. It's a
I
tough
mean,
world.
we've talked about it before, and just like women having to, it happens with the boyfriend. I forgot his name already. When his mother,
Chip.
yeah.
I was like, what?
When Chip's mom gives him the mace, and he's like,
Yes.
pink lady mace,
I know.
lady pepper spray with flowers
You're
on
giving me
it.
the lady pepper spray. Yes.
But just the fact that there has to be
And it's pink.
pepper spray that's pink with flowers on
It's
it,
pink
so it
'cause
can
it's for
look
girls.
cute on your
Yeah.
keychain.
Yep.
But you got to
So that
carry
you
it
can
around.
hide it. Yeah. I know.
That's the world we live in.
If I walk to my car alone, I have my 3 main house keys in
Yeah.
between all of my fingers
The
to
Wolverine.
stab somebody in the face. Yep. I'm like, I hate that that's a thing.
I mean, they
And
also have those giant pokers that are keychains. I mean,
know,
you've seen
which
those.
I want to get.
Yeah.
I was like, I won't have to knuckle my keys. Yeah. I know.
Just get the big
That's
poker.
what it is.
My younger sister has one. And it's like at this point, she still has her keychain all these years later. Make fun of her because the pink is all chipped off. It's just gray
Pink is
now.
gone.
Yeah.
It's pretty dull.
I'm like, have you been jabbing
You're
people
not
with it? She's
girly
like-
anymore.
But yeah, it's just such a sad state that this is
Yes.
like a legit kind of. I mean, I know there's a whole argument of gendering everything, and it's like there's
Sure.
pink, tool sets,
Right.
But
I know.
but this is like some real deep shit that there's like pink mace
Absolutely.
and pink pepper spray.
And
It's like,
those things, it's like, no, I do want him to be pink so
Yeah,
that nobody
yeah.
knows. Yeah, I know. It's all of it.
Yeah.
It's deep.
I love the scenes when Needy gets back and she's talking with Chip over the phone, and he
that's a good
he
thing.
asks her, "Did you
Yeah.
get what the make and model of the van was?" And she says, "I don't know, an 89
89
rapist. 89 rapist."
89 rapist.
Love that line.
I don't know.
But I love when she runs into Jennifer in the kitchen. I think
Yeah.
that Megan is really good in these scenes.
That's what I was
Mm-hmm.
talking about earlier when I was like, her creep factor is so good when she just smiles
when
at
she
her
just
and
rips
holds
when she
it.
rips open that chicken
Yep,
and
goes
starts
to the fridge and
chowing
then
down on it.
like the roar. I thought she nailed that scene. That's why
Yeah.
I don't understand the hate on her, because she nailed the high school girl. Sure, you can call that bad acting. So
Yeah,
maybe you just
yeah.
think that's Megan. But this scene, she got the horror part so right.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
I
me
think,
out.
I think the funniest line in that scene is when she's ripping into the chicken and Needy goes, "My mom got that from Boston Market. I'm not supposed to."
Okay. We're so hungry. Yeah, it's so good.
And sort of how Jennifer is in that scene, like you can tell that she's been like violated, and you're just like, what?
She looks
the
awful.
fuck
And you're
just
just
happened?
sitting there like, you need to tell me more. But she's just like, nope, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Like, let me. It's so, yeah. That scene is wild and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
creepy, keeps you on edge the whole time. And that's what I love is that, yes, there's a whole commentary in this movie and it's a whole, high school setup. But this is the moment where it's like, we remember it's a horror film
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I was so spooked when I saw this. Ellen?
Yeah, totally. And then, when she finally does start to like become full on succubus, lures the one guy out into the woods.
Poor
and you're
high
just
school
like,
football
oh my
player.
God. Yeah, this poor guy.
She's like, am I about to get some?
He's just mourning his
I
friend.
know my friend died, but there's boobs. Here we go.
Well, and that's what's kind of interesting. I remember I wrote about this movie for a film theory class around the time this movie came out, that we were looking at, just sort of like college film theory. And I think that we were talking about Laura Mulvey and the gaze. And the gaze is just sort of...
the male gaze.
The male gaze. And it's pretty much just objectification of women.
Oh, yeah.
Of just sort of seeing them as an object. And Jennifer's Body does some interesting things where it turns stuff like that on its head.
Totally.
That on the outside, Jennifer is this hot chick, and she's luring boys out to the woods to go make out with them, but she's also going to eat you. Too.
Eat you alive, yes.
Yeah, like
I
she's
know.
going straight for the patriarchy.
Absolutely. I love it. I know. So that's kind of the fun, twisted part
And also,
of it.
and also just something that I'm surprised that more critics at the time didn't really catch on to.
I know.
Because I was like 24 years old in basic college film theory, and I immediately got it.
Yeah.
That I'm just sort of surprised that sort of people that
Nobody
were
was coming
writing
to
for
that.
these big publications that kind of pan this movie didn't really get themes
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
I know. Because I loved that. Yeah. Pulled out the biggest jock into the woods and just I know you're mourning your friend, but my boobs are going to distract you because you are a typical male.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
just biting right into it.
And that's the other thing too is from the horror movie aspect. If you're just watching it purely as a horror movie,
Yeah.
you're still kind of unsure of what happened to her and what she's doing. And when
Sure.
when she finally takes the guy into the woods, you're kind I don't know, you're just like, is she a vampire? Is she not? And
What's
it's like
happening?
she's
And
just straight up eating this
And I
dude.
think that we're
Her
settling
jaw
on
unhinges.
if we're gonna break out our demonology book.
Yeah.
that Jennifer is a demon.
Yeah.
and this demon,
I mean, is
sort
it a
of.
succubus? Is that is
Yeah,
that right?
I think you would call her
Yeah.
a succubus.
I
I mean,
she
she
feeds
sort of
off of.
She
men.
sort of has.
Well,
this,
she goes both ways.
Oh,
I mean,
that's true.
she kind of has this. She's kind of wearing a mask
Yeah.
that, like,
Yeah,
the demon is inside of her
true,
because she
yeah.
could pull it out when she's eating someone.
Yes.
That you see her like transform,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then once she chows down on all these guys. She's like, it gives her
And she has a glow.
this like
Yeah.
glow up.
That's what
Yeah.
gives her life. Yeah.
I love when she's explaining it to Needy in the bedroom,
I know.
and she's just like, "What does she say? Like, I'm kind of invincible. Like after
I'm kind of unkillable.
Kind of unkillable,
She's like, after
yeah.
I eat, I'm kind of unkillable. And then she just stabs her arm.
It's some like X-Men shit.
Yes. X-Men shit. Gosh.
Yeah.
It's so good. When you put all of the layers of this horror movie into the high school terms, that's why
Yes.
this movie is gold. When
Yeah.
she's trying to explain it in just her funny way.
And that's one of the
Yeah.
things that when they were cutting trailers and TV spots for all of those scenes where it's Needy and Jennifer in the bedroom, you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not the tone of the scene at all.
No.
Of like when you watch it advertised.
That's why I was like, remember how they showed the
Like, at
kiss?
all.
Because it was
Yeah.
trying to be to men of like,
Right.
hey, two girls are going to kiss, so come see this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was not about that at all. Because moments after that kiss, it's like Jennifer launches into, hey, guess what? This is what happened to me. Like, and then it becomes
And also
demonology.
Jennifer's still giving Needy shit of just like, you just need to calm down. You're overreacting. Do you remember when we were in Girl Scout camp and you thought that it was an earthquake, but it was really just some guys with a ghetto blaster?
The ghetto blaster. That's another very special line. So many.
I forgot about the guys at the ghetto,
I know.
which you have to say boombox now.
Boombox.
Yes.
Yep. Excuse me.
Very non-PC terms.
One of those
in this
2009. Well, and I also think the R word is thrown around a couple
Well, I
times.
was
in
going
the
to say
script.
it is.
Yep.
It's said twice, and there's also freakter.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know if I can say it because it's not technically the word, but they say it.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, and then Chris Pratt says Fago.
yes.
That's kind of funny,
Oh my
though.
God.
That's kind of funny.
People booed that line too.
As you should.
Yeah, he was already booed, and then he started
It's like
talking.
it's a
and then-
double
yeah,
boo
yeah.
because he said
And
it.
then
Yeah.
he said Fago, and everyone was like, "Oh my
Okay,
God."
so the grieving jock is the first victim. Devoured by animals. I love that shot when she's
know, the
seducing
deer.
him and all these forest creatures
It's
come
like, well,
out.
they're waiting.
Yeah, that was crazy. I forgot about that. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is kind of fun."
So,
that's the Twilight aspect of this.
Seriously.
So
The animals in the woods.
we get the jock, and then is Kyle?
Colin
Kyle
Gray.
Yeah,
Kyle Gallner
as
Colin Gray, the emo kid.
Yep.
But we find out later on that Ahmet from India was actually the first victim.
Right.
Now, did she
Yeah.
did she
Like,
run
does
into?
anyone know you're alive?
Did she run
Yeah.
into him after leading Needy's house?
I think it was after Needy's house because when she got to Needy, she was hungry
Because
Yeah.
she couldn't eat her.
and she didn't eat Needy and
Yeah.
she couldn't eat the chicken.
And so she
Yeah,
went
and so she
outside
left,
and she was
yeah.
like, does anybody know you're alive? No. Okay. Well, we're going to sort this
never
out.
will.
Drags him into the woods. Yep.
Yeah, and so that's why when she got to school the next day, she looked.
She was glowing and
Normal,
said,
yeah.
nothing was wrong with me.
I mean, if I'm gonna be kind of playing devil's advocate, if I was to be turned into a demon, I mean, this would be a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I mean, you could kind of pick and choose
Right.
who your victims are.
Totally. I thought she picked
Yeah.
pretty well. I did feel bad for Colin, was Kyle Gallner's character.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him. I felt like he was
Yeah,
caught in the crossfire.
he didn't really need it,
Some of
yeah.
her other victims, I was like, I can get on board.
I mean,
Would you be like? You could be like Dexter.
I was going to say like
Yeah.
a vigilante.
Yeah.
Like, let's
You'd sort of
take
have to
out
be
the
like
worst
a
people.
vigilante demon.
Or did
Yeah.
did Angel do that kind of a thing, or what did he do to like stay alive?
Oh, I don't remember.
Did Angel just eat anybody?
No, I don't think so.
Did he only
Yeah.
eat like gangbangers and?
I know. It's like those are the people you support. The criminals they're getting rid of the people we hate. Yeah.
Get them off the streets.
But yeah, I mean, if I had to be turned into a demon, would be kind of a cool one.
Yeah. I believe it.
Just
I
to
think
get
it'd
your
be a
X-Men
really
powers.
cool demon. Yeah.
But yeah, it is funny later on though in the movie when, going back to when Chip's mom gives him the mace and he's like, "Oh, mace," and she's like, "Well, we know there's a crazy person out there that likes boys." And I just thought that was such a funny line.
Such a good line. There's just these little moments. They're so quick that are so smart.
Yeah.
Who were the famous serial killers that would only kill like young men?
John Wayne Gacy. Ted, not Ted Bundy.
No, I was like, he was women.
Yeah, he was ladies. I'm thinking of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer,
Yep.
8.
8.
Yeah, I was like, took it a step further.
8
grosser.
young men.
Yeah.
Fucked up stuff
Oh,
with them. Yeah.
Lord.
8 and more.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so terrible.
Yeah. Gacy had him like buried under the house.
Oh, yeah.
Like, ooh, crazy.
I know.
But I also think it's interesting that this movie is never heavy-handed of how these men are portrayed. Of that, there's nothing really all that bad about any of them. They're just kind of dummies.
Right. Yeah, like none of them are evil. So that's the thing is she's not made out to be a vigilante because we don't see
Colin
them.
seems like a sweet
she's
kid.
Not, she's
Colin
not going
actually seems
after.
nice.
Yeah, she's not going after bad
Sort of
guys.
like, oh, you're just men.
He wants to take.
Yeah.
He wants to take Jennifer out on a date to go to
No,
Rocky
like,
Horror.
Kind of nice. I know. She says, "I don't want to see
like
a boxing movie." It's so good. I love it so much.
Oh man, I was kind of. I mean, we do get it later on, but I was kind of expecting like a big revenge thing with the band.
Right. Well,
yeah,
we get that
we
in
the
credits.
Yeah,
It's the last scene of the movie.
No, I
like
know
the
but I'm saying
credits and the music. But
Yeah.
yes, I kind of wish that Jennifer would have had that moment. But it's also fun that
I like that it's needy.
Yeah,
it's fun that it's needy.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the whole thing is that they did this, demonic rite to gain fame and fortune, and it worked, but it also didn't because she turns out womp womp. She wasn't really a virgin. So Needy finds out that in the occult section at their high school library.
It's small. It's a small section.
Our library has an occult section.
It's small.
She finds out that because she actually wasn't a virgin, that she is now damned to become this demon roaming the earth.
Can't just die. It'll be a succubus.
Yes. And so now Needy's got to,
Stop
put an end to it. Yeah. And like we have kind of talked about earlier, Jennifer's kind of secret MO is that, oh, okay, Needy thinks this guy's cool, then I'm going to go for it.
Yeah. Go for it, yep.
And so one of her kind of, now her thing is, okay, she's with Chip.
Chip is like,
Chip's the next,
is the guy that she wants.
target.
Chip is the number one. She sets her sights on him. Yeah. You see the little bits right away of like, hi, Chip, I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
And you never see Chip as like hot as Megan Fox and Jennifer are. You never see Chip like,
no,
he doesn't like her because
he's not into it. He's into Needy.
Yeah, and Jennifer's an asshole to him. So he's just like, yeah, you're hot, but no,
you're kind of the worst.
yeah. So it's that thing where if you don't like somebody, no matter how hot they are, they're kind of ugly to you.
Right.
So you never see him slip in that way.
Right.
As hard as she tries. Which I think is a good character note for him. He's not
I
like,
love that.
okay, I'm just going to go and like.
Yeah, he's all for Needy the entire time. But then, that's a bigger fuel for Jennifer.
Yes,
She's like, want what you can't have as well. Yeah.
How do you feel about, it's the big build up to the spring formal, and also kind of the school dance is kind of a fake out because you think that the big climax is going to happen at the dance. Kind of their big Carrie scene.
No.
But I mean,
in the pool.
Needy gets to the dance and realizes that Jennifer is elsewhere luring her boyfriend. How do we feel about Needy's prom?
I don't know what's going on with this prom dress.
It's the weirdest.
Like I love this movie. I do think they went a little over the top with the prom
It's like
look.
straight up Josie Grossi.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with it. It's so bad. I don't know if they just wanted more material for the scenes where she got bloody to make it more dramatic, because then it like starts to drag and sag. But I was like, why?
I mean, I guess
What?
Amy Sedaris was just very adamant of putting her in this dress.
I think it was Amy
teasing out
as
the
her
hair.
mother. She was like, "You have to do this." It was so weird. It was so strange. But gosh, the pool scene that is to the
Love the
side
pool
of
scene.
the formal. It's so. And that's where all the good one-liners.
It's such a fun set piece of
so
this
fun.
abandoned town pool that there's graffiti everywhere.
Scummy.
Scummy.
And Jennifer gets to really show off there because it's dark and it's creepy, so it lends to you know having a creepy scene, but also her like coming through the water, having her moment. It just she feels like such a monster in this scene. I just love it.
Totally.
It's kind of Jennifer is just sort of turned into this like creature of the black lagoon, sea hag.
Really see her that way, and then like the "Do you have a tampon?" line. I can't. It's just too good. It just seemed like you were plugged. I love it.
Oh my god, yeah. I love when they're like sitting there. He's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Going swimming." He's like, "What?"
What?
He's like, "This pool's disgusting."
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, it's a good like final showdown because you know, like you said, it is kind of a fake out because when Needy's kind of figuring it out, she's like, "Oh, the dance. It's going to be."
She just assumes
it's going to be a buffet.
She's going to eat all the boys.
Production.
Yeah. But that
she was
wasn't the
too
plan.
smart.
Which, I mean, Jennifer's not stupid. She's not going to eat these boys in like public in front of everyone.
She always does it in private. That was the thing. That's why it was so good.
Yeah, that crazy like empty crack house where she got Colin. Like, what was that?
Well, it's like it was like a urban sprawl development that they're all
that
building these
wasn't
houses
finished.
that they just weren't finished.
But it looked like
they were just like in the scaffolding.
Yeah.
It was that was an interesting.
I mean, I guess that gay men do some pretty sketchy shit for grinder hookups.
Well,
so I mean, I guess that we put ourselves in these situations all the time now of answering somebody off of an app on your phone.
Yeah.
It's like Uber, but for other things.
For other services.
But yeah, I mean, just like
always keep your location on for your friends when you're doing that.
Yes,
folks.
just make sure somebody knows where you are.
Ping your friends.
Gosh.
But yeah, there's some good zingers. Their back and forth is like so good. In the pool.
Nice insult, Hannah Montana. Do you have any other harsh digs?
And I just love it. I don't know if you guys are on TikTok. I was like, I shouldn't be on TikTok. I'm too old for it. But there are sounds that become popular that people use as voiceovers, and I loved it because there was a voiceover from this final scene that I'm sort of like, Gen Z, you don't deserve this. Because I don't know if you've even seen this movie, but it was the like, come on, Needy, what a joke. I was the snowflake queen. That moment, it was like,
I haven't seen
was
that.
a voiceover for some reason.
God.
I don't even remember how people were using it,
didn't
just
even
like
know.
being sassy. Yeah, but that was the thing. I was like, you don't even know what you're quoting. But it was fun to hear it come back
I would like to
around.
hope young people have caught on to this movie.
I do. That's
Discovered
the
it.
thing. I shouldn't totally shit on Gen Z. I think the way they were quoting it in the TikToks felt incorrect and wrong, but I do know that Gen Z has latched onto this movie because they are understanding what the movie is about, which again, it was like it came out too soon.
Yeah.
Gen Z, the credit I will give them is they are all about female empowerment and they understand.
They can immediately
message.
get all of these themes and not have it sort of be like spoon fed to them.
Yes,
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And just kind of this scene that opens the movie that they later return to of
back in the
bedroom.
In the bed,
in the bedroom.
looking ill
in the
in
bedroom.
her bed. Yep.
After Jennifer's killed Chip. Chip's gone.
And Amanda's coming for
Needy knows
Needy.
what has to be done. This is not Jennifer anymore. This is like, this is a monster that she needs to get
monster.
rid of.
Yeah,
Her friend is not there anymore. Yeah, and she knows what she has to do. And I love the epic ending scene of Needy like coming after her in the slow motion.
Yeah,
Jennifer falling back to the bed. It's so good. It's beautiful.
Yeah, with her box cutter.
I think do you get all your weapons from Home Depot, like Butch.
So Butch.
I think that I was watching an interview today with both Megan Fox and Diablo Cody, and they were just sort of doing a retrospect. It was done in 2019, so the movie was 10 years old, and by that time, the movie really had been reassessed, and they were just sort of like reflecting back on it. And Diablo mentions the line of "my tit." And then Needy says, "No, your heart."
Yeah. I think of that all the time.
Such great such great screenwriting.
So good. It's such a good moment, and it just kind of like encompasses the entire film of who they are as people. My tit. your heart.
Yeah.
Honey. So good.
I always think that Megan's mom is played by who's the actress Pete from Blank Check?
Karen Duffy.
Karen Duffy. It is-
Oh,
it is not Karen
my
Duffy
God.
from MTV.
Love that.
Yep.
Wait, who is her mom?
I don't think
I don't think she's
anybody.
anyone. I always think
Okay, yeah,
I
I
always
was
think
like-
it's Karen Duffy. It is not.
But
Yeah.
I love that.
Interesting choice that like we don't see her home life the
I
whole
know.
movie.
Not at all.
And then we finally do, and her mom's like a young mom.
But I
like a young,
but I
pretty,
feel like when I see the mom, I immediately know what all of the story is.
Kind of,
yeah.
And I also love that
You can make
Jennifer
your
has a
assumptions.
horse.
I know.
She has a horse in her
into
yard.
that.
So interesting.
It's like, oh,
She's a
man.
horse girl.
We
Yep,
like,
who knew?
Yeah, she's a horse girl, which it's like you weren't the horse girl in my high school.
yeah, that right. Yeah, that was one thing at the beginning. I was like, is this a dream? What's going on
I
with this
know.
horse?
What is the horse about?
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, we finally meet the mom at the end, and yeah, like you
Kinda
said,
make your
You kind of
assumptions.
get a little bit like, oh, okay, her mom's not like, I don't
She-
know, is she a
and
cool mom?
She walks into
Like a regular mom.
she walks into Needy stabbing Jennifer in the heart.
Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
It's like, oh, you're just
mistake.
murdering your best friend.
So then I'm
Yeah.
assuming that Needy sort of takes the fall for all of
Yeah.
Jennifer's crimes.
yes,
and
that's,
she
I think
ends up
that's
in the
what we
mental hospital.
assume. That she's just like, there's
Yeah.
no way I can explain this to
Yeah.
any of you. So here I am.
I love the last bit of narration from Needy of
Yeah.
when she's talking about how she's changed as a person after all of the events of this movie, of
Yeah.
just how this has really changed her.
yeah.
Like everything. Like she's
Everything
no
about her
longer
life.
the nice person that she once was. Like she's
Totally.
a very broken person. But one of the benefits of being bitten by a demon is that you're going to get some of those powers.
You're gonna get those powers, get
Yeah.
that strength, and like she shows her little scratch on her
Yeah.
shoulder, and then going to
And she
as
can
we were talking
hover.
about earlier, she can hover.
Not
yeah,
fly.
and when you see her when you see her walk out of this institution, I
Yeah.
think it's so empowering.
It is.
great,
I love
yeah.
it. I was gonna say the whole ending is amazing. Like watching her walk out. She gets in the car with that guy. She's hitchhiking. Where are you going? Oh, I'm following this band. And you immediately are like, oh,
Okay.
And
Shit,
kind of
here
as
we
one of
go.
the well, and it's one of those things as the
Yeah.
viewers is that Low Shoulder hasn't been brought up in a while, and you
I know.
almost
you have
forget
to
about
catch
them.
it.
Yeah.
But the second
Yeah.
she said band,
Yeah,
I was like,
you're like,
oh, you
all
just
right.
brought me
Like,
back.
and
I
it
was
kind
hearing
of,
through the
and it
trees.
puts into perspective, and it puts into perspective of who is the villain of this movie.
Right.
It's not Jennifer. It's
Scott, I'm so
Nikolai,
happy you said
and
that.
it's Nikolai and Low Shoulder
Yeah.
are the true villains of this movie.
It's easy to say, oh, Jennifer, she became the succubus. She's the monster. No, let's remember the people who sacrificed her
Yes.
like she was just a slab
Yeah.
of deli meat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Low Shoulder is the enemy.
And I think it's so funny that the song just becomes this anthem.
The anthem for the lost
For the-
souls,
oh my
even though
gosh.
they started. I know.
Yeah.
They're-
And Needy's just like, the fucking song. And
they're
everybody's
donating.
just like,
They're donating 3% of their profits.
J.K. Simmons is like, this is our song. We have to do it. Yeah, J.K. Simmons was also that Juno
Yeah,
callback where
yeah.
it was like, I see what you're doing. You found
Yep.
your people.
yeah,
We're here for it.
totally. Yeah, I forgot he was in it. I was like, oh,
As the
yeah.
science teacher, yep.
He actually has some funny moments. He's not in it a ton, but I was like, I love that moment where he's like, this song is our anthem, and he's so
Yeah.
emotional. But also when Jennifer makes her first kill, he's the one outside of
Like,
the woods.
let it
who's
out.
like,
Yes.
let it out, kids.
Let
Like
it out,
thinks they're
kids.
just like going to town, having some sexy time.
Well,
and
I
then
love
poor
that-
guy has to discover the body.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that J.K. Simmons' character is like, it's not explicitly spelled out for us, but he's been through some shit. He's got the hook hand.
Is it-
He's
and
a
is
bit
it all
haggard.
burned up?
Is it?
He's seen something.
Oh, I guess
Yeah.
I was going right for Vietnam, but I guess he could just have survived a fire or something.
Well,
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. We're all making up our story for him.
exactly.
We
Yeah.
know that he's seen something.
He's seen some shit, and now he just saw some more.
But yeah, such a
Finding this kid in the woods.
such a gratifying scene that
Yeah.
really like just tops off this movie and makes
Yeah.
it like a perfect ending.
I love it.
Yeah.
She comes for him.
I think we should talk a little bit about just cult followings of movies. That I
Yeah.
think that the word cult is thrown out around a lot for entertainment, and I don't think everything really fits into a cult status of something. I think Jennifer's Body is one of the kind of a perfect case in the last like 15 years of something that generally is a cult film that didn't do very well on its initial release. I think
Total
that
flop.
like it made 2.8 in its opening day, and then its opening weekend 6.8. I think it probably closed out around like 12.
Oh wow!
That it was pretty. It came and went really fast. I mean, I was in on the ground floor of this movie. I knew what this movie was
I loved
initially.
it.
Yeah.
That
But
I was just kind
everyone
of
with me hated
surprised
it.
that like no one else was getting this movie. And sometimes movies just take time. That
They do.
It just takes time to find an audience. And Jennifer's Body did find an audience. And
absolutely.
Diablo has said that whenever people come up to her in the store, it's usually not about Juno. She says it's
Jennifer's
9
Body.
times out of 10,
Yeah.
it's about Jennifer's Body.
And
Yep.
Megan Fox, along
Yep.
those same lines, when
Yeah.
she's asked what her favorite movie was, she's like, hands down, Jennifer's Body. Like, don't even talk to me about Transformers. Like, Jennifer's Body is my best work.
Yeah.
And I love that. They knew it was special. Adam Brody has also been quoted in interviews saying,
Okay.
like, I hate the way this was marketed. Like,
Yeah.
you all got it wrong. Like, to even have, I think we needed the male to also say it. Because, of course,
Right?
the women, they got it the moment it came
Yeah,
out. Like,
yeah.
they were all in on it. But I loved hearing Adam Brody be like, oh, I love Jennifer's Body. You
Yeah.
guys just you didn't understand it. And
Yeah.
that really drove it home of like, okay, this was something special and it didn't go to the right audience.
Yeah, and
Right.
I mean, a lot has happened in Hollywood since 2009.
yeah.
And I also think sort of how movies like this are marketed now is very different. That now I think that marketing can be a little more nuanced. I mean, look at all of A24. Of that is a whole brand
Yep.
of just how you market a A24 movie. We just went to Bodies, a movie that like was marketed pretty like spot on for the type of movie that it was.
Yeah.
That I think that there's room in the culture now for a film like this to succeed and to find an audience.
Bodies
Yeah.
feels along the same lines of Jennifer's
Right.
Body,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of campy, funny horror.
Kind of like a generational
Now-
satire.
Nowadays, it would sell immediately. Where at the time it was like, we have to sell it as sexy
Yeah.
or it won't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was talking earlier about just all of the hate of Diablo Cody, of just regardless of what she was going to follow up Juno with, she was always going to have this problem.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, there's something to be said right now at this moment about Megan Fox too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, she's not going through it. I think she's having a wonderful time with Machine Gun Kelly.
I don't
they're
know
like-
how.
they're-
I don't
they're-
understand
They're
it.
just they're our generations like Pam and Tommy.
I'm not for it.
I
but-
know there's a lot of feelings.
There's a lot to unpack
There's a
there.
lot of feelings. There's a lot to unpack. MGK is very polarizing personality. Megan and, things with Brian Austin Green, who I
Yeah,
love.
I know, me too.
And she's got like beautiful kids with Brian Austin
I
Green, and she,
know.
she's a mom, and, she's got this family. And it's like, she's living her life with
Yeah.
MGK. They're doing their
I
thing.
think they make sense as a couple.
I think they
when
make,
you look at
I
them,
think they make
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
I think she has had a hell of a career in Hollywood. I think she's been through.
She's been treated like
She's
garbage.
been treated like
yeah.
absolute garbage. She's had everything thrown at her, and she's coming out the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not she's like, working, quote unquote, as much as she
Yeah.
could be, whatever. She can
Yeah.
work as much or as little as she wants.
Totally.
But yeah, there's a lot going on right now, and we're in this time of oversharing, and we're in this time of these couples that are trying to outcouple each other.
Yes.
And like Courtney and Travis.
I was about to say it, but like Courtney and Travis
Yeah.
and Megan and MGK were like in this competition.
Yeah.
We are the sexier, crazier
Yes,
couple.
and we're
Like,
more
watch
in
us.
love.
Yes.
We are more in love.
I
We are
know.
sexier.
I mean, I guess that
We
like
are-
Billy Bob and Angelina walked, so
They-
Megan and
It totally feels like
Machine
that.
Gun
Like,
Kelly
hey,
could run.
we have each other's
Yep.
blood hanging around our neck. Yeah, it totally feels like that.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're young and rich and
I
beautiful
know.
and
But I mean,
thin,
there was
know.
couples like
Live
that.
your life.
But there was couples like that in the 90s
Always.
too.
There's
So there's
always-
always
No, it feels
been
like it's
Yeah.
coming
there's always
back
been
around.
celebrity
coming
couples
back
like
around.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's Heather,
right.
Heather Locklear and
Yep.
Tommy Lee, and Pam and
Yeah.
Tommy Lee, and who else in Tommy Lee?
Yeah, it feels
just Tommy Lee
everyone
and
and
anyone.
Tommy Lee. Yeah, it does feel like that. Absolutely.
So it's like, I feel like right now they may have calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
We're not seeing them as much. We're still
Yeah.
seeing a lot of Courtney and Travis,
Courtney.
but
It'll be never ending. Yeah.
it'll be never ending because their show
the
is
Kardashians,
Their show
yeah.
is airing, so we're seeing a lot more
I
of
know,
Courtney and
then
all that.
Kim and Chloe.
Kim.
Everyone's
Well, I
having
think
kids,
that-
and that
well,
pops them
I
up.
think
Yeah.
that I think that Megan is smart enough not to get in the reality show game
Yes.
of that type
She's
of
staying on
exposure.
the outside.
She
I
knows
would
that
imagine
she
if-
knows that she does not want that.
I would think
Yeah.
they probably have had some offers thrown at them about
1,000% the way they're close with
Yeah.
Courtney and Travis. I'm sure they were like, "Will you just come on one?" And they were like, "Absolutely
No,
not." And I respect her for that. But
yeah.
yeah, MGK seems like he could probably be the worst. So
Yeah.
I just want her to have joy in her life. I hope
And,
she has
and
that.
I think we can separate all that from the work.
Yes,
And it's
I was like, I actually
and I-
love a lot of his.
Yes.
songs.
And I think, too, that's one of the biases that people had going in to Jennifer's Body, even back in 2009, because she has had everything thrown at her. And I think even from Transformers, there's that whole like, oh, she's just the face, she's just the body,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. She's stupid, she can't act,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like, but did you watch any of the movies? Did
Yes.
you
But,
see it?
I mean,
She actually has
just
some
watch
talent.
I
this
really
movie.
don't care about the Transformers movie, but
yeah.
there is a movie moment when she opens up the hood of that car, and you're just
I'll
like,
never forget it when she
and that
opens
you're just
the
like,
hood.
that is a motherfucking movie star right there.
That is just Babe
Yeah.
Town, USA. I
She
can't help but say it.
looks like in this movie that like I don't know how we are from the same gene pool.
Yes.
That I am like that. I was just like flopping in the mud, and she was like walking
That
on
is
two
exactly
legs.
how I felt. I was like, "What? Who am I? I am just a creature from the Black
A
Lagoon."
troglodyte.
I literally, after I saw that movie, I was ashamed to admit it back then, but now I'm like, I'm an adult. I can admit my faults. After I saw Jennifer's Body, I dyed my hair black.
I mean,
I tried to do my eyebrows exactly like her. I looked up how much colored contacts cost.
Sure.
I wanted to have her blue eyes because she truly was just like, I need to be her.
it's
I was
unnatural.
trying to find the girl who was
God.
at
Oh my God.
Hollywood Forever, who was dressed she was dressed as Jennifer when she's
The cheerleading outfit.
The cheerleading outfit.
That's when you're
with
just
the-
like,
with
she
the-
takes your breath
with
away.
with
Yeah.
the DK.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
This
she
woman-
looked exactly like her.
Good
and I
for
think,
that
well, and I
woman.
think that it's one of those things that she got
we think she got work,
cosmetic
to look
surgery
like
to
Megan
look like
Fox.
Megan Fox.
See, if
I
I
was
had
trying to-
money when I was 22,
That would have been you.
it would have been me. I was just
Would have
poor.
been you.
We were
Yeah,
sitting on
I
the
would've.
ground and she walked by us and I was just like, is that Megan Fox?
No,
Yeah.
I
No, she
I
just
can't even
really
fault
looks like
that
her.
woman. If I had money when Jennifer's Body came out, I would have walked right into the
Yeah.
doctor's office and been like, do this.
I tried to find her on the Cinespia photos on their
Yeah,
Instagram.
no,
we're
I'm
trying
like,
to
I
find
wanna
her
see.
Instagram,
Yeah.
But it was also one of those things that like in person, I was like, that's a lot of hair.
yeah.
That's got to be like a wig or a fall or some tracks or something. I was
Sure.
like, that much hair is not growing out of your head.
Yeah.
But it looked like she had done some work to look like her. But it's like, whatever
Hey,
you do,
live your
you do
life. I
you.
know. That's why I'm like, I'm not faulting him. I get Botox.
Megan
I'm like,
Fox,
hey, I
Megan
do
Fox
it.
is one of the best nose jobs in the biz.
Gosh,
like
yeah,
she's the
she's
picture
got-
that you should bring to your doctor.
She has the perfect
nose,
thin
Yep.
bridge and the little point
The
like a
little-
little elf.
Yep.
That's what I want. That's all I want.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the kind of hate or weird attitude, I think is people just, and I don't know, and I'm not going to say like, oh, pretty people have it so hard.
Yeah.
Because like they don't.
Yeah.
I also think
They get a lot
I
of
also
things handed
think
to them.
there's something to be said about a woman who just seems genuinely weird.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that if it's a
She's
man,
not following the rules.
if
Right.
it's a
She's
not
man,
following
you
the
sort
rules,
of give them a pass.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
but when
okay.
it's a woman that's unusual,
Everybody
Yeah.
loses
society
it.
Yeah.
does have a bone to pick with it.
Totally.
She's not following the pretty girl
Exactly.
rules
It's like,
of-
oh, you're gorgeous, but you're saying these like off things, and you and MGK are doing weird stuff,
Yeah.
so people attack her. It's like, no, I kind of love that she's just living.
Yeah. So, Megan Fox can go and do her thing.
Megan
I
Fox
know.
apologist.
I like her.
Love her.
it. Yeah.
I know I like her a lot. That's why I have my issues with MGK because I'm like, girl, you are too good for this world. Like nobody is worthy of you.
Yeah. So I mean, whether or not there are generations like Marilyn Manson and Rose McGowan, or whatever you want to do, that's just like, hey, she's happy.
you.
She seems happy.
She
I don't
seems
think
happy.
that it's a kind of like bad situation yet.
I'd like to see her act more.
Yes.
I would love to see
I'd
her
love to
act
see her in
I
more
do want to
movies.
see her work more. Again, I agree that like if she doesn't want to work,
I know
hey,
that, I know
live your
that
truth.
she's,
But we like
she's
want
busy with
her in.
she's busy with kids, so she's probably just being a mom
I know,
and a
which
girlfriend.
I'm also
but
like, I love that
I'd like
you're
to
a
see-
mom and you're still like cool and hot. And
Yeah.
living it. Yeah.
And she's fully on board with her one little boy that is just dresses how he wants to dress.
Yeah.
And she's like, he was a zombie cheerleader for Halloween and it was really cute.
My dream. Yeah, I'm
was
like, can I have that
that's-
job?
That's amazing. So we love that. But
Yes.
and Diablo is, like you said, she had,
Oh, she's just like killing it.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's probably what I would do if I was in the spotlight, where she just dropped Twitter and Facebook and all
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah,
She's
you
not
have to,
online anymore.
Yeah.
And she's.
and I did
mean,
love her online presence, but
Yes.
also it's like, yeah, you get to that point in your career, and she
just- yeah.
it was just like I can't
I
do
think
this.
her best work is Tully. Have you seen Tully?
Oh, I do love Tully. I
Yeah.
was like, I guess
I could see
I
that.
can't even say
I
what I
could
would put
see-
as her best work. But
I
I
can
do
see
love
Tully
it.
hitting different when you're a mom too.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it really did. And it was like that is like it's my love and struggle with it. It's
Right,
like, yeah,
okay.
but I
Just
love
because,
it.
like, name another movie that's about postpartum depression.
know.
Yeah.
It honestly writes postpartum so well. Actually, you might be right. I do think it is because my husband and I watched it shortly after we had Wilder.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah, and we didn't even mean to do it that way. It was
You
just
looked at
like
each
the
other
timing.
like, too real.
It was like, this is me. It was like, oh, I am like talking to this like foreign person. Yeah,
And you were
it's
just like,
very
night
smart.
nurse. Why didn't I ever think of that?
Nightmares, yeah. No, it is. It's so brilliant.
Yeah.
It is really good. That might be
She
some of
is
her best.
working on a movie right now that she is writing. She's not directing it, and it's called Lisa Frankenstein.
Are we going to see the colorful unicorn world of Lisa Frank, or is that just like a tease?
It can't just be like a.
Those are my folders.
yeah.
Let's talk about
Lisa Frankenstein, Carla Gugino, love her.
Love
Cole
Carla
Sprouse, Catherine Newton. In 1989, an unpopular girl named Lisa accidentally reanimates a handsome Victorian corpse during a lightning storm and starts to rebuild him into the man of her dreams using the broken tanning bed in her garage.
Oh, I love
This movie sounds incredible.
I am here for everything you just said.
we always say
will
like
be in the
there
front
should be a
row.
gender swapped Weird Science remake.
Yeah.
Done.
I think this is
we
it.
did it.
This is
Yeah.
it, Lisa Frankenstein.
And it's Cole Sprouse from Riverdale.
Yeah.
I love Cole Sprouse.
Yeah.
Also, like Dylan Sprouse is starting to get back into the world because for
Right.
a while, like
He was-
Cole
yeah.
was doing it all, and Dylan
He was
was
sort
like,
of
"I'm kind
the-
of doing my
he
own
was
thing."
sort
I'm
of
gonna be a
the-
photographer.
He was making mead. Like I don't know if you saw that. He started a meadery, and I was
Okay.
like, "No one's making mead."
I mean,
but
when
now
you're
he's
that rich.
coming back. I know, but he's coming back into it. Love
Good.
Cole Sprouse.
Yeah.
I love early Riverdale before it went off the rails,
But,
and I
yeah.
like that Dylan's coming back.
Yeah, definitely.
So I can't wait for Lisa Frankenstein. I know that
stoked.
I
Great
know
title.
that Diablo was doing a pass at this Madonna movie, but I think she has
Oh.
since left the movie.
Has she?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
For this
now I
Madonna
wanna
movie
know
that
the
I do
story.
not think is ever actually going to come out.
And when it does, I'm worried it'll just be the worst because
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
get passed around so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Wasn't she also attached to Barbie for a while?
She did write for the Barbie
wrote a
movie.
pass
and
on
I
Barbie.
think
She
that
did? I
she,
didn't know that.
She
Yeah.
left the Barbie movie.
But she left
Yeah.
that as well.
I
But
am
also the
excited
Barbie
for that.
movie
Yeah.
I think has been handed off to like 10 different screenwriters at
Again,
this
it's
point.
like who knows? But I mean, I'm still gonna go.
Yeah, well,
see it.
I mean,
It's gonna be great.
come on. Those set photos look.
It's just too much.
just
I'm
crazy
like,
enough for-
you are the perfect people to do this. Yeah.
Totally.
Diablo,
Oh.
we love you.
Yeah, we love you. So, is Jennifer's Body on streaming
It's on
anywhere?
Prime.
It's on Prime.
It's on Prime for free.
Prime has
Love
both.
it.
Well, I guess if you
Prime
have a
has
subscription.
both.
But who
the,
doesn't?
Unrated.
the theatrical and unrated.
Yeah, I watched the unrated.
It's interesting.
Nice.
Well, the unrated has a different opening. It opens with Jennifer at the institution.
Oh my
With
gosh,
Jennifer
I
at
didn't
the
even
institution?
notice
It opens
that.
with Jennifer at the institution. You don't get Jennifer on the bed.
Yep.
As the opening scene, and there's a few other lines that
I didn't
that they
even
add in.
notice the
Yeah.
clips. I was like, did
Okay.
anything
But
change?
the big thing is
I'm an idiot.
the opening is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you have Amazon Prime, which if you don't have Amazon Prime in
Like,
2022,
what are you even doing?
Get with it. I
Do
know
you
we
want your
hate.
deliveries in a day or
I know
what?
we hate Bezos, but come on.
I know.
What are you gonna do?
I know. Honestly, I feel like
You
in my
can-
soul I should be
You
hating
can
on
shit
it.
talk
Yeah.
Amazon all you
Amazon
want,
everything.
but I know that all of you that are replying on like My Favorite Murder being on like the Amazon network and coming out early
Uh-huh.
I know all you bitches have Prime.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So don't be that person.
Yep.
But I mean, hey, so go watch Jennifer's Body on streaming. It's
And definitely,
there.
like,
Shit's
if
the
this
best.
movie wasn't your thing when it came out, give it another shot, because I
Truly
think it's
watch
a
it through a
very
new lens.
I think
It
it's a
changes.
very funny, clever movie.
I think it's so
It's
smart.
the real deal.
Yeah.
I
Real
said
deal.
it then. I'll say it now.
I know.
Great
Scott,
movie. Mm-hmm.
I love that you also loved it back in the
Yeah.
day. It's so I loved it then, but I honestly loved it for different reasons. That's why I say, even if you did like it back in the day, give it another pass.
Oh,
because
yeah,
I see
totally.
it so differently now. It's perfect.
And it's fun to see just sort of where Amanda's career has gone since
my
this
gosh.
movie.
I mean, superstar.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
Lauren, this was so much fun.
Lauren, thank you
Gosh,
so
I
much.
always have a blast with
We
you
had you
guys.
on during the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Dead.
What did
one
we
of
do?
our we did
What lies beneath, which I
did,
know was
yeah.
like it all felt like sort of a random offshoot.
That one
but
was
then
kind
it
of
was like-
stretching.
It
We
worked.
pretty much
It was
just picked it just
stretching.
because
Michelle
Michelle's
Pfeiffer.
so
Michelle
Because
Pfeiffer.
Michelle's
Pfeiffer
so
is a
fierce in that movie. Yeah, queen.
And sexy
I know.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Shirtless
the
Harrison Ford.
sexiest
Come on.
ever.
Come on.
But yeah, that was such a blast. But
Yeah.
and then back to I was like trying to get back to our roots of Drop Dead Gorgeous.
I mean, you're the one that got Drop Dead Gorgeous. Do you know how
Yeah,
many
people
guests
always
that
wanna
I've
do
reached
it.
out to
Yeah.
that's usually in their first email or message of
Yeah.
I'll do Drop Dead Gorgeous.
I feel so
Yep.
honored that I got it, but also like nobody can take that from me. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that movie
That's a good
fun,
one.
but
Both you and Ashley tag
Yeah.
teamed The
Yeah.
Witches
Yes.
for our one of our
that
first
was so
OG
Halloween
Witches.
episodes.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So we talk about your podcast all the time, but talk a little bit more about Keep It Weird and where you can find your show.
Keep It Weird. You can find it on all the things. And I know
Yes.
that's so general, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, all the things. Just search us. You'll
Yeah.
find Keep It Weird. We talk about all things strange, unusual, paranormal, supernatural, creepy, sticky, gross, scary, and everything in between.
Yay.
Your range
Perfect
of
tagline.
stuff
got
that you
it.
talk about is really fun, and that's
It
what I
is
like
fun.
about your guys' show is that you just don't. I mean, it's always like an internet meme at this point of that when I die, I hope that like
Two white women.
two
with
white
a
women are going to
podcast.
like
Yeah.
uncover like my death, or
Exactly.
they won't
But
even
it's
cover.
not
I don't
just
know.
true crime.
But you guys
Yes,
cover a lot of
because
stuff.
there are so many just true crime
Yeah.
/ paranormal, and we wanted to branch away. We do science. We do anything that just makes you say, "I need to know a bit more." Huh?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
all of the
Love it.
episodes of Joe where he goes on
Handsome
some
Joe.
on some rant.
You should listen to our most recent one. I guess if this is coming out soon, like it still will be recent. We just did an evolution episode, and
Ooh.
Joe went on quite a tangent.
I can't even imagine Joe
And
just
I-
getting pissed off about
of all
about
things, and then I on
intelligent
purpose,
design.
No, that's what's so funny is I on purpose talked about conspiracy theories because I know it pisses him off. So I was like, "Have you heard of creationism, Joe?
Have you heard of it?
Would you like to talk about it?" So I just like I
What are your
just
thoughts?
teased him the entire time. Yeah, it was great.
Amazing.
He was on our episode on Encino Man. We
Yes,
got
he
to
was.
ask.
Yes!
We
Oh
got
my
to we got to ask him about
Talked
like
about my biggest crush.
we got to ask him
Brendan.
about cavemen.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit
Mhm.
about
Gosh, he has all the
Australian
thoughts. Anthropology. Yeah, he's so
Yeah.
into that.
Oh man! So yeah, listeners, go out
It
and check
Weird.
out Keep It Weird. We talk about them all the time. They're our podcast.
We've done episodes. Go and
Fam.
find our episodes.
Well,
Yes,
yeah, I was also
indeed.
going to say, you guys have been on our show, and I think you're about to come on again soon.
Maybe.
We're teasing it. I know. Yeah,
I
we
think
shouldn't
so.
promise.
Alrighty. Well, I think it is time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for being on the show. We'll have you again
Yes, thank you.
on shortly, soon enough.
Thanks.
But, until then, bye, friend. And thank you so much for listening,
Thanks so
everybody.
much.
Yes,
kind
indeed.
of an unexpected movie in our schedule that we did have something else planned. We had the shuffle
it's-
around
it's
dates,
fine.
and we finally got to Jennifer's Body. So
Yes,
much
indeed.
fun.
Yes, indeed.
Been waiting to do this episode for a while.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to shout out to our friend Trent Venegas over at Quoting Gene Roddenberry podcast.
Ah, okay.
I was trying to find trying to come up with his name from Pink is the New Blog earlier in the episode, and it blanked on me. But as I mentioned in this episode, my brain is a sieve. I can't remember anything.
It's true.
But Trent Venegas, he headed up Pink is the New Blog back in the day, and now he's over at Quoting Gene Roddenberry with Rachel True. Great podcast. Go give him a listen. But anyway, I think it is about that time
For Patreon shout out.
Shout outs. Absolutely. Would like to say hello to our wonderful patrons, including Flemish Giant, Jackson, Millie, Darcy, Ted, Benny, Jermel, Melanie, Christopher, Susan, JJ, Shelby, Michael, Charlie, Muffy, Paul, Jamie, Drew, Jimmy, Genevieve, Dawn, Joshua, M. Lamelli, Aaron, Melinda and Jim, Jessica, Nick and Shannon, Christine, and Rufino.
Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you so much for being
Thanks so much.
patrons.
Yeah.
We love that. Our Patreon is on and
It
popping.
means a lot. You will get access to our monthly newsletter. I do post photos to there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you're at the $10 level, you will get access to our Watch With Us commentaries.
Yes.
Like a week and a half ago, we just did The Terminator. The Terminator was a lot of fun.
It was a really fun
That was a really
commentary.
fun movie to do a commentary
Patrons,
for.
if you haven't listened to the Terminator commentary, you can
Yeah, it
listen
was
to
good.
it as a supplemental episode.
I
Just
think it's one of my
listen.
favorite ones that we've done.
Yeah, or you can time it. We tell you how to time it with the movie to sync it up so that you, as you watch the movie, you listen to us talk about it. And yeah, it's pretty wild.
The
Terminator's
commentaries are
great.
fun for movies that we probably won't do for a full episode,
Yes,
but we can
absolutely.
still talk about. That's
Yes,
what's fun
indeed.
about the commentaries.
So head over to patreon.com/movies that made us gay, and every penny that you contribute
Yeah, it
helps
means a
us
lot.
so much. It goes right to getting new equipment. We need new headphones, and we are going to use money for that to get us new headphones so our guests and ourselves can sound great as we're recording. All our equipment comes directly out of that. So thank you so much. For being patrons. We really appreciate it. We'd also love it if you would like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Write us a review.
If you're an Apple Podcast
would
or on
love to hear
Spotify,
it.
you can give us 5-star ratings and you can write a review and we'll read it. Kind of like this one here. This is from Apple Podcast user Jesse Kremp. The title of this review is "They've Kept Me Gay." Pete and Scott are so enjoyable to listen to. It feels like you're hanging out with two gay film nerds, and I love that. I love the catalog of movies that they've covered, and they've had some great guest stars on their pod. So thank you so much, Jesse Kremp. That was
Thanks so
very
much.
sweet of you. It's easy and it's free, and it helps the word get out. It helps other people find our show, and just makes us feel nice and fuzzy when we get a good
Yeah, I
review.
love
So
it.
Thank you out there for doing that. If you want to follow us on social media, the show is on pretty much everything.
Facebook, Instagram, Movies That Made Us Gay. On Twitter, MTMUG Pod.
Yes, indeed. And if you want to follow our personals, my name is Pete. I am at Peter Lasagna on Instagram and Twitter.
I am Oscar Scott on Twitter and Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and follow my letterbox.
Yes, indeed. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. It was a great show. We will see you next week.
I have to get this shit up like right now. This
Yeah,
is a quick
it's a
tune over
fast
for this
turnaround.
one. We're recording this one Thursday night. I am getting this up by tomorrow morning.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you
Thanks
soon.
so much.
Bye.